To this meeting, this regular meeting of the Los Angeles City Board of Public Works. It is Friday, July 30, 2021. Dr. Campos, please establish quorum.
Thank you, Mr. President. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. Establishing quorum and roll call for today, we have President Good, Vice President Garcia, and President Pro Tem Davis and Commissioner Caloza. Mr. President, you do have a quorum. Commissioner Villegas is out of the office today on an approved absence. And at this time, Mr. President, there is no callers on the line under general public comment. We also do not have any commentary on any of the items for today's agenda.
Thank you, Dr. Campos. Good morning, everybody. It is great to see this Hollywood Squares of faces, including some superstar special guests, and plus this other dude who used to work here. First item, quickly, I would motion colleagues to adopt the minutes from Wednesday, July 14th, 2021. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, the enthusiasm is electric. Thank you, Dr. Davis. Garcia, Caloza, any concerns? Hearing none, the minutes from July 14th, 2021 are adopted forthwith. Now, Dr. Campos, we are required to take item 1 first. Is that correct? Before the...
That is correct, Mr. President. The item number 1 is the annual election of officers for the Board of Public Works for fiscal year 21-22.
All right. So I need to hand that over to you, don't I?
Yes, you do.
All right. So item 1, fiscal year 2021-2022 annual election of officers. This will be the election of Board of Public Works officers for President and Vice President. Dr. Campos, the virtual gavel is in your hands.
Thank you, Mr. President. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer, chairing this meeting for item number 1 only. As required by the City Charter and also the administrative codes pursuant to the board rules of the City of Los Angeles Board of Public Works, Chapter 6, Election and Appointment of Officers, Board Rule number 29 and 30 state that the board shall elect one of its members as president and vice president, respectively, by a majority vote by open ballot. Since we are now doing this for the first time through the virtual platform, I ask that the commissioners, if you have any nominations or would like to state anything, if you can please press *9 or raise your hand at this time, because I have the Hollywood frame at this point, and I try to figure out who gets to the gavel first or who gets to the microphone first. So I can, if I can raise your hand, that would be great. So commissioners, at this time, we will go ahead and start the elections by open ballot for the seat of president. Commissioners, are there any nominations for the position of president?
You see I've raised my hand, right, Dr. Campos?
Yes, Dr. Davis, you are the only one that has his hand raised at this time. I will go ahead and call you for the nomination.
Thank you very much, Dr. Campos. It's a privilege for me to nominate Greg Good as president of the Los Angeles Board of Public Works. Greg is the proud husband of Alicia Hancock, one of our deputy attorney generals in the state of California, and equally the proud father of Ruby Jean Hancock Good, the apple of his eye. And Greg brings to us employment experience that's very valuable to the work that he has done even before getting in City Hall. He has worked as a teacher in Inglewood, in Compton, the areas and regions of this county that really matter in economic development work that we do. Also, Greg has spent several years, when we look at the work that he'll do as president, he has spent several years as an actor. And working on films as well as theater productions. Additionally, Greg has spent 7 years as he works in the sanitation area and environmental issues. He, prior to coming to City Hall, spent 7 years at Los Angeles Alliance for a New Economy, better known affectionately as LANE. And he was the director there of the Don't Waste Los Angeles project and the director of their campaign communications. But I think really what is critical is the work that he brings in the mayor's office, having first served as the executive officer for the Office of City Services, where he took on the role as director of infrastructure. And then even further serving as the chief of legislative and external affairs for Mayor Eric Garcetti. I think these skills speak for themselves in terms of the knowledge and the skills that it will bring to our board. Also, additionally, he has served successfully as our president. And I think in that role, probably the thing that I like most of all of the very significant things he has done, I like the fact that he has seen the genius idea of giving us a bathroom break. So, so in addition to the great work that he has done in helping to manage the infrastructure bureaus of the Department of Public Works, he has really added that value for those of us as members, and it is a privilege and it is a pleasure for me to introduce and to also nominate Gregory Good. Attorney Gregory Good, by the way, I'm a USC guy, but he made one mistake. He went to UCLA Law, and he is a proud Brown University graduate in history as well. So Greg has already served us well, and it is again my privilege and it is my pleasure to nominate again for continued service as president and leader of Public Works, Greg Good. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Commissioners, is there a second to Dr. Davis's motion to elect Attorney Commissioner Greg Good as president for the board for fiscal year 21-22?
Second.
I'll second as well.
Seconded both by Commissioner Garcia and Caloza. Any oppositions? Hearing no oppositions, no objections to this motion. This motion is passed unanimous. And congratulations to Commissioner or President Good again.
I just want to say, I didn't know that Greg was an actor. That was a good addition.
I got stories for you, for sure. Well, I won't thank you, Brother Ewan. Thank you all very much. Mike, all politics is local. I mean, as local as right down the hall, right? On bathroom breaks. So thank you all so much. It has been an incredible pleasure and honor serving this department and serving this board and all of you as my colleagues as president over the past year. You know, the Department of Public Works is a gargantuan beast. We are the second largest department in the city of Los Angeles, the second largest mega city and the largest hegemony in the history of the world. And we are the engine for sustainability, for opportunity, and for growth in infrastructure in this city. And it is an honor and a pleasure every day to show up on this Zoom, show up in the building, and to be able to serve Angelenos, to be able to serve the 5,500 women and men who go out every day. Pick your pandemic, that don't stop them. They keep taking care of business, and to have been able to sort of ride that train and facilitate where I can, empower where I can, is a genuine honor. I want to thank, first of all, Mike, Jessica, Auda, Teresa on vacation, Dr. Campos, Cindy Bassett, without whom I'm dead, and then Tania, Ted Jordan, Adina Hoppenstan, and of course Mayor Eric Garcetti, who in a fluke moment decided to appoint me to the board, which I'm incredibly appreciative of, and of course to the council that confirmed me. Our general managers, our bureau directors are just absolute rock stars, and quite frankly makes my job easy. I get to facilitate. And then there's other folks on this Zoom, ironically, poetically, who have been mentors and played very big roles in getting me to where we are today, not the least of which is Ron Herrera, Ron Miller, that old boy from Oklahoma who says he's practicing law these days, up on the screen. I am grateful to all of y'all. I look forward to humbly, and relentlessly serving the Department of Public Works in the city of Los Angeles for another year, and hopefully till, you know, they send me away. So thank you very, very much, colleagues, and I'm looking forward to it.
Congratulations. Congratulations, President Good, on your nomination and re-election of this position. We will now move forward with the next election for the seat of Vice President of the Board of Public Works. Again, if you can please raise your hand if you'd like to nominate or make any discussions on this item. Commissioners, at this point, we will go ahead and take any nominations for the Vice President of the Board of Public Works. I have one raised hand, and that is from our newly elected President Good.
All right. Well, at the risk of being master the obvious, a president is nothing without a great vice president. And I have been exceedingly fortunate in my first year as president to serve alongside a force of nature, Auda Garcia. You know, Auda has been in this joint since the first day that Eric Garcetti took over as mayor. And there, simply put, is no bigger heart, no more creative mind, no more absolute sense of possibility participant and leader than Auda Garcia. Auda knows and loves her community. She knows and loves Los Angeles. She brings an empathy and an engagement, and yet a steely resolve to everything she does. I think, you know, I will be useless if you don't elect colleagues or re-elect Vice President or Auda Garcia as Vice President. So I'm proud to nominate Auda Garcia as our Vice President.
Thank you, President Good. Commissioners, we have a nomination. Commissioner Good has made a motion to elect and re-elect Commissioner Garcia as Vice President for the Board of Public Works for fiscal year 21-22. Is there a second to his motion?
Second. And I think
Seconded by Commissioner Caloza.
I think President Pro Tem Davis was also trying to say something, but it was on mute.
Yeah.
Commissioner Davis, is that a second as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I will
Thank
go
you for
ahead and
that,
enter
Caloza.
that. I will go ahead and enter that as a second as well with Commissioner Caloza. So we have a motion by President Good and a second by Commissioners Caloza and Davis for the re-election and nomination for Commissioner Garcia as Vice President. At this point, any oppositions? Hearing no objections, no oppositions, the motion is passed, and congratulations to Commissioner Garcia as Vice President of the Board of Public Works.
Thank you. Can I say a few words? Thank you. First of all, I'm, very gracious and very privileged to be in this role, and I thank my colleagues on the board. I really love serving and being in this position for many reasons. One of them being that I get to sit along very smart and very intelligent folks, and I get to learn from them as well. So to Commissioner Caloza, Commissioner Dr. Davis, Commissioner Villegas, really humbly thank you for re-electing me as your Vice President. I look forward to convening us, to continue to working together, to continue to lead and work along with you and serving the city that I was born, raised, and grew up in, and plan to be here until whenever I'm gone. So thank you so much for that. And to President Good, I keep on getting to know you more and more. Today was one of those things, an actor. I gotta hear those stories. But I just have to say thank you for letting me serve with you as a vice president to your presidency. And it's an honor to be able to sit with you in so many meetings and get to learn your extensive word vocabulary and terminology that helps me put it together. Sometimes I'm like, oh, what did he say? So thank you for that, President Good. And also President James, who elected me 2 years ago also as his vice president. And Kevin, it's just so timely that you're here today. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. And I appreciate the mayor. Also, thank you to the mayor and his team for having the confidence and the opportunity to first elect me as a commissioner and now as vice president. And I hope to serve the entire Board of Public Works with the best that I can and the best of my knowledge, and as humbly that I can to be here. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Commissioner Vice President Garcia. And I actually have a commentary from former President James. Or was that a clapping hands?
I was just clapping. I was going to say, don't give me the floor.
You'll get it later, Dr. Campos.
Later.
Right. Great. Congratulations to both President Good and Vice President Garcia. I will now turn the meeting over back to the chair, the newly re-elected President Good of the Board of Public Works. Mr. President, the first order of business as President for fiscal year 21-22 is to nominate and appoint one of your commissioners as President Pro Tem for this remaining of the fiscal year. I will now turn the gavel over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Campos. Experience and compassion and commitment count in this work. On the experience front, it doesn't take much to look around this joint and remember and recognize that we have a real statesman who has been on this board for going on over 8 years now. It also is very, very critical as we do the work that we do, that we fulfill the vision of the mayor and the city council, and central to that, particularly, actually from day one, it has been cast in very stark relief over the last year, but is the commitment to equity, the commitment to opportunity, and I know certainly from my perspective as board president, talked about this relentlessly, all my colleagues do, that we are an engine of opportunity in the city, and nobody lives and breathes it, feels it in the marrow of his bones. That commitment to making sure that the city of Los Angeles, and more specifically the Department of Public Works, is open to folks of color, is open to the disenfranchised, is open to women, is open to everybody. And I don't just mean the doors, I mean the opportunities, I mean the work, I mean the services, that we are genuinely serving this entire city on all of those fronts. Nobody, and we're all completely focused on it, but embodies that quite like Mike Davis. And that combination of experience and heart and compassion and commitment make you such a incredible asset to the city, Mike, and very proud to have you serve as President Pro Tem for the Board of Public Works in this next year again. I would be very proud of that. And so, I don't have to ask for a vote. Do I have to ask for a vote, or I just make it? All right, so Mike, consider it done.
Thank you. Well, thank you. I want to thank you too, President Good, for your faith in me, and I'm very pleased to see that former President James is here, and it was a pleasure to work with him in this capacity and his identification of the opportunity for racial equity. Not necessarily an easy job, but a very rewarding job because it's hard work and looking for results that don't come immediately, but that they do come. And finally, I'd like to thank Mayor Garcetti for having the faith in me and giving me the opportunity to serve in improving our infrastructure. But as you have said, President Good, in addition to the infrastructure, we create economic opportunity. And that's been perhaps the most rewarding feeling for those of us who work in public works, that we are able to do, in addition to delivering a service to constituents, being able to provide an opportunity to work, an opportunity to establish careers, an opportunity to recognize the excellent work that our employees give day in and day out. And to be in this position is an honor, it's a privilege. And I am so grateful that you have given me an opportunity to be President Pro Tem, and I look forward to continuing to work with you in the rest of the year. Thank you.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Dr. Davis. Thank you, Vice President Garcia. Thank you, Commissioner Colosi. Thank you, Dr. Campos. Thank you, everyone. So with that, let's get it on. And it's an interesting segue, an interesting moment into before we go into the regular agenda. We talked about it some over the course of the last 20 minutes with the elections, but you know, we do a lot of things in public works. We provide a lot of quality of life services. We create opportunity. We are the increasing sort of torch carriers of sustainability in this city. But we build. We build. And when my daughter walks outside in the city of Los Angeles, when all of your families and kids and friends, we all walk outside in this city, folks don't even realize that they're walking around, seeing, availing themselves of, being part of an infrastructure, a city that has been built by the hands and the hearts of women and men who are committed to this city. They have created the city that we live in and that we thrive in. And, you know, they have been championed relentlessly over the past 10 years and well before that by a absolute relentless man. And that is the president of the LAOC, Los Angeles and Orange County Building Trades Council, Ron Miller. Now I'm going to say some more words because I got lots to say about Ron a little later. But today we want to recognize and celebrate Ron's retirement and the partnership that we have had with him and with the building trades since the day he walked in here. And so, Ron, get ready. We're going to gush a little bit. I showed you. You've seen before. I wore my cuffs for you. I thought about it this morning. Got to wear my levels. Got to keep it low. And we've got a few special guests here, Ron, who want to say some things. We're going to go through and have everyone speak. Then Ron, we will ask if you would like to speak. We would love you to speak. And you know, just have some Ron Miller time. In fact, that's right. We're going to call it Miller time. So even if it's 10:39. All right. With that, first and foremost, one of my very best friends on planet Earth. A mentor, not just definitively a mentor to me, but a mentor to many, many people in this city. He is a Teamster. He is a unionist. He is a warrior, and he's a friend. And I know he's a compadre, close compadre with Ron Miller, the president of the LA County Federation of Labor, president of Teamsters Local 396, international vice president of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. Ron Herrera. Hello, brother.
Thank you, Gregory. I appreciate that. I was pretty impressed by your resume from Dr. Davis. He actually left out a few things, but we'll save that for a roast because I'm appropriate today, okay? I've been texting Devin O'Sheary, who's on staff with me, a few things, but, you know, I told him to delete them.
You know too much, Ron.
So congratulations to all of you. And I want to thank the Public Works for today because it's very important that, you know, as president of the Labor Federation, I say thank you. Thank you for, you know, recognizing not only my brother Ron Miller for his retirement, but, you know, unions as a whole in Los Angeles. And it's obvious that the Public Works isn't, you know, afraid to be our friend and brother, and that's very, very important. But I want to start out by saying, you know, hello to all my brothers and sisters in the trades that are on the call. It's a happy day, I guess, but also for me a sad day because, you know, I'm losing a comrade in arms. You know, Ron's been the executive secretary of the building trades for both Orange County and LA since 2012. And, folks think that, we have this glamorous job in union leadership, but try having 140,000, members within the construction trades and 14 different trades and, 52 local unions. Not an easy task. And Ron's been able to, you know, lead that, special group. Uh, the one thing that, one of the things that I admire most about Ron, he got his hands dirty. He comes right out of the trades, right out of the rank and file. 43-year a member of UA Plumbers Local 78, and that means a lot in our careers as union folks, our membership as a union member. 43 years dedicated to his life, in a union, and for the labor fed, that's just an incredible feat. But when you tack that on to billions, not millions, billions of dollars of negotiated PLAs within our city, it's quite an accomplishment. But Ron's been a true partner, but we've been friends. So, it's pretty easy for me to come up here and talk to you about him, because as an executive board member of the Federation, as a vice president, always there, always participating, always had a voice, represented the trades the way the trades are supposed to be. Big shoes to fill, Chris, but I know that you've been mentored by him and you're going to do well. But his dedication to the labor movement, his commitment, passion, and belief in us, a teacher, a mentor, an example, Greg, you said it earlier, of a true unionist, because you can see the pride, how proud he is. But one of the things that we are again teaching is union loyalty, and that's very, very important, within our ranks. But again, Brother Ron, on my end, I'm going to miss you. But congratulations on your retirement. And Chris, congratulations on your new appointment. And onward, the LA labor movement. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Ron. That was great. Really appreciate you being here. So next up, folks know this, but the city of Los Angeles has been at the very, very forefront on project labor agreements, specifically and in particular, master public works project labor agreement. On the side of the city, John Reamer, the director of the Bureau of Contract Administration, has really been the tip of the spear, working with Ron's predecessors, Richard Slauson, Robbie Hunter, and has just been in the trenches with all of us in this work. John, I know you've got a few things to say about Ron. Keep them all nice, and good to see you.
I will do that. Good morning to everyone. Congratulations, President Good and Vice President Garcia, President Pro Tem Mike Davis, to the entire board and the Public Works family and the labor family. It's indeed an honor and a privilege to be here and to follow Ron Herrera. Ron, it's good to see you. Ron Miller, man, I did not want this day to come, Ron. Back in 2000, my goodness, we've been negotiating project labor agreements. It began with Richard Slauson. It continued with Robbie Hunter. But in the midst of all of that, Ron Miller has been there. For those of you who don't know, it's said that a person who won't stand for something will fall for anything. Ron, you have always been courageous. You will stand when others walk away. That's been your signature. Ron, you've been conscientious. You have always stood for that which is right. Ron, you've been considerate. You always stand to make things better. And the one thing that I like about you, Ron, is that you are consistent. I can set my watch by you, Ron. You have made sure that project labor agreements have remained fair and consistent throughout the region. In the many municipalities, you've held a standard and you refused to back down. I enjoyed our time negotiating together, and then I recognized that, man, this is like negotiating with a wall. It's not going to budge. But your heart and your drive and your aim never flinched. In the time that you've been leading, Ron, I want you to appreciate this. The project labor agreements that we've had, we moved from project by project to department-wide. And the two presidents that we have here, President James and President Good, they're right alongside of us, did some transformative work. We have a project labor agreement on a federal project that was not supposed to happen, had not happened, but we have one on our 6th Street Viaduct. 2 successful 5-year, and now we're in the process of finalizing a 10-year agreement. And just in public works alone, just in public works, I'm not going to bring up the port, which you've been a part of, DWP, which you've been a part of, LA World Airports, you've been a part of, Metro, the agency, you've been a part of. I mean, these are not small departments. Just in public works alone, 38% of the hours worked, Ron, over these past 11 years. 38% on all of our projects, local workers. 61% local apprentices. 17% transitional workers. We're talking, Ron, over 6,900 lives, local residents in the city of Los Angeles, just on public works projects, Ron, during your time. And we're not talking about the project laborers before, just under the department-wide agreements, $82.5 million of wages and benefits reinvested into the lives of Los Angelinos, Ron Miller, because you chose to be conscientious, because you chose to be courageous, because you chose to be considerate and consistent, because you're a man that stands, Ron. You do. And I so appreciate, I do, the time that we have spent together talking about many things. And we've talked about the interesting, challenging things. You have not run away from the notion of equity. You have not. You have not been afraid to address underrepresentation on projects where the community was really concerned about the lack of African American and women workers. You have not run from that, Ron, and I so appreciate and applaud the courage that you have shown to ensure that we have a document that speaks to the needs of the city. So lives have been changed. Families have been made better because of Ron Miller. So Ron, I'm grateful. I truly am for the opportunity to have worked with you, to learn from you, to see the impact that labor can have in the lives of this city. Tremendous work, Ron. I congratulate you. I applaud you. I want nothing but the best for you in this next chapter of your life. May you enjoy every minute, hour, month, year, and the number of years you have coming, and continue to do what you do best, which is to stand for that which is right as you make lives better. Blessings to you, my brother. I appreciate you.
Thank you, John.
By the way, he's going to keep standing. We know that, right, John? And he probably ain't going anywhere, for that matter. He'll go up north a little bit more, but he's going to be sticking around. All right. Before I come to Chris, there is this old boy from Oklahoma who used to kick around this building as well. He is he is a committed force towards the work that is done in public works, obviously, because he lived it and led it, and was central to the work done around our PLAs and commitment to labor. So I would love to hand over the mic to my predecessor, Kevin James, because I know he wants to talk about Ron Miller.
Thank you, President Good, and I loved it. I love the work of Public Works. I love the department, and congratulations, President Good, to you and to Vice President Garcia, President Pro Tem Davis, and to Commissioners Caloza and Villegas for the great work you all continue to do in very challenging times, of course, that we've all been through. I do want to say a big thank you also to John Reamer. Pastor Reamer, when I hear your voice in an environment like this, it reminds us of home. And thank you, sir, for your kind words today, honoring our great friend and the title I would like to give you, Ron, is partner. Ron Miller is an incredible partner for us, and look at the work and the results, Ron Miller, that our Public Works Inspector, John Reamer, just went through. Thank you on behalf of the entire city of Los Angeles. I started the job, and when you enter a new career, which it was for me in 2013, for so many of us at the Board of Public Works, but when I came in, you will never forget, I will never forget the early partners that really wanted to work with us and step forward immediately. And Ron Miller, you're at the front of that list. Thank you for being accessible. A few other things I want to say about Ron Miller. And when you listen to our great union leader, Ron Herrera, talk about the scope and the breadth of the level of responsibility that Ron Miller has at the building trades in LA and OC in Orange County, with the more than 50 locals and everything else that comes with it. Ron, you are still accessible at any time for us. I'm so proud of the project labor agreement work that our department has been able to do with you in the last several years. And John Reamer called me, I don't know, maybe 2.5 months ago, and went over the kind of the milestones that we all set together through your leadership when I first heard that you were going to be retiring. So thank you for all your years of service. Congratulations on the work that you've done. Have an amazing, amazing retirement, but know that I'll try not to abuse the accessible nature of your cell phone number, but I'm going to continue to stay in touch. There are a couple of other things I want to point out that we all know that have worked with Ron Miller for me the last over 8 years now. And that's the level of trust you can have in Ron. And it came through with something that John Reamer said earlier. I mean, if Ron Miller tells it to you, that's the way it is, and it's going to be, and you can completely trust Ron's word. And there's another category, Ron, that I want to add that I think you fit very well into, and I saw it most notably in the work that we did together. I followed the leadership of our current President of Public Works, Greg Good, and his role as liaison to labor and really co-partner with Ron Herrera, who's here, during the COVID-19, the pandemic, the early days of the pandemic, when there was such uncertainty. And that's where Ron Miller's creativity that was there daily, but you really saw it in the work that Ron Miller did with labor partners throughout the region, indeed throughout the state, with our city, and the work that we did to keep construction projects going. You might remember that there was a moratorium in San Francisco that was not going to happen here. And Ron Miller's creativity and drive for his locals and his tens of thousands of members, hundreds of thousands actually, over 100,000. We found ways because of Ron's leadership and know-how to do workarounds where necessary while maintaining the safety protocols that were required. And Ron, thank you for that. And I know that your members and your locals will always be grateful to you for that. And finally, I do want to say, Chris, congratulations. And I look forward to on behalf of Public Works, a continuing great and steady relationship with you and your role. It's obviously not new to you, and we know you and have worked with you, and so congratulations to all of you for the leadership change and transition. And Ron, I look forward to staying in regular touch, my friend. Thank you so much for everything you've done for the city, for Public Works, for the mayor's administration, and personally, just for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin. And I think you offered up a perfect transition. We have Ron Miller's successor, Chris Hannon. I've also had the pleasure of working with Chris for many years. We had a great trip yesterday morning, visiting the Electrical Worker or Technical Institute, as well as the Plumbers Apprenticeship Program up in Ventura, and not Ventura, excuse me, in Van Nuys. Brother Reamer and Barbara Romero and I. Thank you, Chris. And Chris does have big shoes, but actually to fill. But Chris actually, I think, has big shoes. So, Chris, I know you have some things to say about what I know is a great mentor. So please go ahead. Please.
Well, first of all, thank you, President Good. Thank you, Commissioner James, on your nice congratulations and your nice words. Congratulations to the election of officers. Thank you for the Board of Public Works, not just for today, but also for always being gracious and recognizing the hard work of building trades members. You've the only board that I know of that has taken the time to recognize, probably one of the most important parts of our organization, our training arms of our organization, and the building trades. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say that it's tough following each of you that have spoke prior to me, and especially after hearing Greg's resume. But there is no strong building trades council that doesn't exist in a great city, and from the mayor all the way down, every employee of the city of Los Angeles. You care about the community, you care about the residents, you care about people. This Board of Public Works is to develop infrastructure for the citizens and the residents of the city of Los Angeles. And every step of the way, you stop and you think about how is this going to affect every resident. So the Building Trades Council is not a strong Building Trades Council without being part of a great city like the city of Los Angeles. There's no strong Building Trades Council without being part of Central Labor Council, led by President Herrera. I've worked since day one in the field, starting out as an apprentice, and now fortunate enough to work for Ron for almost the last 9 years. And coming up on 26 years in the field and in the office. I've worked with a lot of hardworking people, and our membership that we represent here at the Building Trades are some of the hardest working, most skilled people anywhere, not anywhere in the city, but anywhere in the world. And throughout my career, I have not worked with anybody that's a harder working individual than Mr. Ron Miller. We work on job sites, our membership, we can build anything you can imagine. So anything this board can imagine, we can build it. And, on all of our job sites and all of our different trades, we're led by a foreman. And we have two types of foremans. We have foremen that are great leaders, and then we have foremen that are great leaders, and then we consider them to be working foremen. So the foremen that still wear their tools and still use their tools while they're leading us. Ron has been the hardest working foreman that I've worked with, and Ron has his tools on every day. He's the first one to work in the morning, and I've talked to Ron still working, past midnight at night as well. And Ron has come to work every day, including on his last day as a member of Plumbers UA Local 78. After 43 years, he was here to work this morning before me, and he showed up to work every day. And he still came in my office today and talked to me about work that he was doing and things he wanted to accomplish today on his last day, when many others might have tried to use a little vacation time or tried to try to slow it down a little bit and remember what a wonderful career he's had. He's not reminiscing on the wonderful career, at least that I can see. He's trying to get things done. He's strategizing still, and the on behalf of the 48 affiliates and the 140,000 plus men and women of the unionized building trades, I want to thank Ron for his not only his leadership, his hard work, but for his membership. And out of those 140,000 members, Ron has, as Mr. Reamer said, has not shied away from trying to look out for the best for everybody and make sure that our membership represents the communities that we work in. And through Ron's leadership, and Ron didn't come here and start from scratch, so we had many great leaders here prior to Ron that Ron's been able to build upon. But during Ron's tenure here at the Building Trades, Ron has aggressively gone after every agreement and every opportunity to put a craftsperson to work, every opportunity to prioritize a new apprentice. And through Ron's work, it's no coincidence that our Building Trades Council has more union construction apprentices than not any other building trades council, but actually any other state in the whole country. So under Ron's leadership, just our Building Trades Council has more union apprentices than any other state in the country. And, that coincides with the work that he's done with the Board of Public Works and in this great city as well. So again, on behalf of 140,000 of the hardest working men and women that I know, thank you, Ron. Wish you the very best, and I know we're going to still see you around, and hope you and Lisa and your kids have the best day every day, and can't say enough about you.
Great.
Thank you, Chris.
Wow, thank you so much, Chris. So, colleagues, I want to open the floor, and then I'll say a few things and get a little presentation, and then Brother Miller, you will have the opportunity as well. So, Vice President Garcia.
Thank you, President Good, and thank you to everybody that's here today, this morning. Ron, I personally do not know you as well, but I've heard so much about you. You're like an icon around here, so it's a pleasure and an honor to be here to celebrate you on the last day. But what I do have to say is that it's always sad to see leadership go. Leadership at the level of your level is really sad to see it go. The fostering of the good relationships that you develop throughout the years, the leadership, the knowledge that you have, and the culture that you put in place. It's always really sad to see that. But I congratulate you on the years of hard work that you did, and I personally have to say that I have a big respect and a big love and embrace of the building and trades, because the building and trades are the folks that give our folks, our community folks, a second chance, a better quality of life, a ability to provide for their families, and an ability to provide for the families that are coming. And so you did that, and you did that very well for so many folks, and for so many families, and for so many kids of those families that now have a better chance of improving their life as well. So with that, you deserve everything that you're getting and everything that you will get, and you deserve a really nice retirement with your family, because just knowing that you helped so many other families get there is very impressive. And so congratulations to you, to your time, and I look forward to working with Chris in the future. And just, congratulations, and thank you for really helping our people succeed.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. President Pro Tem Davis.
Thank you so much, President Good. To all of those who've worked intimately with Ron Miller, John Reamer from our Contract Administration Bureau. I saw Chris Hannon, who talked fondly about Ron's work, and also Ron Herrera from LA County Federation of Labor. When I think about Ron Miller's leadership, it has been transformative in terms of what he has been able to do as we think about our work in public administration. Oftentimes we have prime contractors who do work, and sometimes they miss the opportunity to include others. And so one of the things that you'll see that John Reamer takes pride in is the project labor agreements, because those project labor agreements fulfill more than just an opportunity to empower individuals to get an apprenticeship and to be loyal, as the word loyalty was mentioned, union members, but it also in our goal and our core value in the city of having diversity. The tool of project labor agreements has been an instrument where we have been able to be inclusive in various communities that have been traditionally underrepresented. Project labor agreements have been the answer for us in public works to achieve that inclusion. And we are forever grateful for the work that we've been able to do, Ron Miller, as your partner, a transformative leader. I actually remember Ron, Dick Slauson. I've worked in the state legislature. I've worked in the county board of supervisors as Yvonne Burke, and of course now working here. I worked in Congress with Congresswoman Waters. I don't know how much federal work we're doing these days. But in each level of government, as Commissioner Garcia, our vice president, has said, we look to the Los Angeles Orange County building and construction trades also as a labor union that has reached out to these communities that have been underrepresented as well. And so we are very proud of your transformative leadership. Unions are still organizations that bring dignity and economic opportunity. And Aretha Franklin isn't the only one that values respect. Our union leadership values respect. And Ron, when I think about what you have done, as I've observed you from afar for many years, even as a member of the legislature, you have reflected respect, as have your colleagues in labor. And I will just conclude, as most of the big cities in America, as we think about being Americans, one of the things that we have in our big cities today is that we know we have a concern about work. Labor unions have been our bridge to create that work. And as a result of that, most of our big towns have been described as union towns. And certainly Los Angeles is no exemption. We are a union town, and proudly so. And I will just say that as Public Works, as a government agency, we have been one of those vehicles by which we have tried to be your partner and to help make sure that you've been able to fulfill your goal and accomplish your mission. Because when you do that for yourselves, you do it for us as well. And Ron, you can look back on your career with pride. Your transformable leadership has made a difference, not only in the lives of the individuals that you have touched, you have made some institutional change in places like the city of Los Angeles in the work we do in construction work, whether it's the 6th Street Bridge, whether it is DGUP or any other individual project that we have had. So again, congratulations. We wish you the very best, and we are much better off as a result of your great leadership. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, Michael.
Ron, did you anticipate in all the various retirement parties that you're having that you'd be compared to Aretha Franklin at some point?
Not a chance.
We bring it, Ron. We bring it. All right, Commissioner Kleza.
Thank you, President Good. I was about to comment too. I think there's only Dr. Davis can get away with quoting Aretha Franklin like that, and somehow making it all make sense and weave into his speech. But Ron Miller, thank you for your many years of service and dedication to not just the city of Los Angeles, but really the entire region. Even though you and I haven't had a chance to work with each other directly and closely, everybody knows about your work. Your impact can be felt everywhere with the hundreds and thousands of jobs that you've created, the lives that you've changed, even though those people may not know who created that job for them and why they get a good paying paycheck. That's because of you. And that is something that has transformed this region and the city, and especially getting to be the liaison for the Bureau of Engineering. We talk about your work all the time because it's something that we are most proud of being part of the city, is to say that this project, the 6th Street Viaduct, this $500 million bridge has a project labor agreement. You know, all these construction projects we feel good about because we know that we're creating opportunities, and that's because of you and your hard work that you do both in front of everyone in your partnership with the city, but also behind the scenes. I think one of the things that I get most worried about when I see a retirement is the vacuum that it leaves and the relationship that we may have with the unions, and in this case, the building trades, right? But we didn't have to worry about that in this instance because you've been working behind the scenes to mentor so many people. And there was no vacuum, right? You have somebody ready, like Chris Hannon, to take your place. And we can't say enough about that because you've made and given us a seamless transition and by leaving us in very good hands. And for that, I hope you feel so proud about your legacy and how many people's lives that you've changed and giving us that partnership that's been talked about so much already. I also want to say, too, that this morning on NPR, they were talking about the housing shortage that we all know to be true nationally. And we can't build enough housing after the housing bubble because so many people stopped going into the building trades and we stopped creating those jobs. right? Because we just don't have enough skilled labor to build houses at the rate that we need them to. And I know that because of your work, because of the work that Chris Hannon and John Reamer and so many people in Public Works will do, that we are in a better place because we have a strong foundation, even though there may be this much bigger national crisis around building trades and construction. When I heard that this morning, I wasn't worried for LA, quite frankly. I wasn't worried because of our relationship with you. And the last thing that I will say is to also, in addition to recognizing you and your incredible service, Ron, is I'm also looking forward to working with Chris. I know we had a conversation that we started and then the pandemic hit, but we also, and I want to also make sure that as we look at the building trades, that we make sure that we create more opportunities and are much more intentional too about the outreach and the work that we do with women in the building trades. And I hope to continue that work with you under your term to make sure that as more projects come in place, as we hopefully pass this infrastructure bill, as we look towards the Olympics, that we create more opportunity for women as well. And I think that's going to be a really important piece to work on together. But you're both incredible leaders. Ron, thank you for putting a big ad out to everyone saying how you can essentially be working for free after today. It sounds like you have a lot of volunteer work heading your way, especially from former President James, it sounds like. So I don't think you're going to have to worry about keeping busy after your retirement. I think you have many projects heading your way, but thank you so much for your incredible service to the city of Los Angeles, and have an amazing retirement. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Colosa. Thank you, colleagues. Ron, I've got lots to say about you, and it probably won't be seamless. I'm going to just hit some key points, and I've heard a lot here. One is just your humility. I think about how many times you have said to me, and we've had a lot of conversations about a lot of complex stuff that is sometimes contentious, sometimes controversial, just difficult on myriad fronts, whether it's the pandemic, whether it's PLA's projects, et cetera, and I always love it. You'll say to me, Greg, I'm a plumber. And there's so many ways to unpack that. One of them is that some folks could read that as almost like you diminishing your almost like downplaying your expertise. I know you. When you say that, you say it with enormous pride. I take it as, damn Skippy, you're a plumber, and thank goodness because you know your business. But there's just such a humility to how you do the work, and it's something that I personally would like to emulate, and to really, do more of myself. I admire it. I admire it a great deal, and it speaks to another point that has been touched on, but at least for me, will never be said equivocally, which is you are about your members. You are about women and men of Public Works. You're not about your power, which is substantial. You're not about your ego, which is minimal. You're not about your vehicle. You're not about this, that, the other. You're about your members, period. And you are true. Every conversation, anytime you're working on anything, it drips with a commitment to your members. And that's how it should always be. in union leadership. It's how it should always be for folks who employ and supervise folks, but it's not. And you truly embody that. I don't ever have any doubt whatsoever. I think John hit on this in some ways, and Kevin did. I have any doubt about where you're coming from and what matters to you. That has been meaningful, and it is something that you inject into every single thing you do. You've been relentless for your members, and you've delivered. And in the end, that's what counts. You have delivered, and you've delivered in a mighty, mighty way. A couple other things that I just want to comment on. Your respect. Been touched on here. I don't think everyone even gets, quite frankly, how powerful you are, because you are. And yet you function as a servant leader, and you just show incredible respect to me, respect to, any, random person in the city. I mean, like, you just, that's how you function. That's how you roll. That's how you communicate. You don't beat your chest. You communicate, and you communicate always with respect. And part of that respect is, and John did hit on this, is you are, actually Chris hit on this too. I put a very high premium on how people approach their business. Simply put, everyone on here in various roles has an obligation. The world is on fire, and everyone on here carries buckets, and we have an obligation. We don't have a right to do our work in a halfway. I'm using good G-rated language here. We don't have a right to take our responsibilities in any way. I'm going to say it half-ass. It is not appropriate. And Ron Miller shows up. Chris hit on this. You always show up. You're at every meeting early. You are always prepared. You show up 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It's unbelievable, Ron. And it is something I frankly admire. I appreciate, because it makes it so easy to work with you, but I admire it as someone who hopes to be a leader of your caliber in my lifetime. And I appreciate being able to watch that and to learn from it. Lastly, I would just say this. It's been hit on, but folks know Ron Miller, warrior, labor leader. Ron's also a devoted father and a devoted husband. And I think, and I'll end with this, and then I'll read you the certificate that I will hand deliver to you in the imminent future. But just speaking personally, we have gone through some rings of fire at various points together. Kevin hit on it. I mean, the work we did during the pandemic, but well before that. And I knew you before I was in the city, and we've worked together for many, many years. Maybe most important to me in this moment is just to say, you're a good man. You're a good man. You're a good friend. And I'm very appreciative of your friendship, and appreciative of the opportunity to work with you, and appreciative of the opportunity to drag you into stuff even in your retirement. So thank you for your friendship, Ron. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your partnership. And thank you for your service to the women and men of this city, and to the city of Los Angeles in general. You're a warrior, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
All right, I'm going to read something to you, and then I'm handing it over to you, which is, and I admit I wrote it, so it's really so it's really just a continuation of my speech, Ron. But bear with me. Ron has served since 2012 as the Executive Secretary of the Los Angeles Orange County Building and Construction Trades Council. During that time and throughout his career, he has been an unabashed, relentless warrior for working women and men. He has been a champion for the city, a trusted partner and friend of the Department of Public Works, and a fierce, fierce advocate for his members. Enjoy your days of wine and roses, Ron. We wish you health, peace, and happiness, brother.
Thank you.
So you've listened to everybody embarrass you. Now it's you.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'm very humbled by everybody on here today and the kind words. So I prepared a statement. Some of the stuff's been covered, but I'm going to go ahead and stay on point here so that I don't crack up. But anyway, good morning and congratulations, Greg, on your election, and to all the commissioners. Thank you for everything you do day in and day out. I'm very proud to have represented the building trades and had the opportunity to grow the relationship that was created many years ago by predecessors that came before me. The Board of Public Works is very important to the building trades and is a model for the whole country. It really is. You know, they say things start here on the West Coast and the wind blows east. This Public Works Board is one such deal. As everybody is currently talking about infrastructure in Washington, D.C., and there's a lot of talk, the Board of Public Works here in L.A. has been at the forefront of infrastructure. They've been doing it and has used the skilled and trained workforce of the building trades and the in-house employees to do it. In-house employees and contracted out union members from the building trades. And I think it's a great relationship, one that was created long before I got here. And I'm just happy I've been able to push the cart a little further down the road. I've had the pleasure of working with many people, Mayor Garcetti, Mr. Good, John Reamer and his team, Ian. I mean, I hate to start naming people because I'll probably piss somebody off because I'll miss them. But, you know, and past board members, Kevin James, Barbara Romero, Heather Repenning, just to name a few. You know, we've worked on some important issues. When it comes to local hire, that's a component of our project labor agreement, and we've enhanced it over the years. And we do have a model to be proud of. Providing opportunities, working in communities of color, and providing those pathways into unionized joint labor management apprenticeship of the building trades affiliates. And what that means is middle-class careers with good pay, good benefits, and a modest pension at the end of time when it's retirement time. And we shouldn't have to wait till we're on death's doorstep to retire. We should be able to retire with dignity and in good health so that we can enjoy it. We have good data that shows projects being completed on time and on budget, and putting Angelinos into the good middle class careers in the building trades. So much that we have data showing, like Chris alluded to, 21,000 apprentices that live in LA and Orange County in our building trades. And that's not counting all the ones that live on the other counties surrounding LA and Orange County. That's a direct tribute to the work that everybody on this call does day in and day out. And as Chris alluded to, that's a larger amount than in total apprentices than the whole state of New York. All of their apprenticeable occupations. That's really something to pat each other on the back for, because that shows that this program works. And this is not only about infrastructure, building infrastructure, it's about human infrastructure.
I have something that...
And that's very important, the human infrastructure aspect, and that's what you guys are doing. when you partner with the building trades. So I'd like to take credit for everything that's done, but you know, I work for 140,000 men and women, and I have great partners like the Board of Public Works, City of Los Angeles, and many other entities in LA and Orange County, and I'm proud to have worked within those boundaries to make things better. So, yeah, my phone will still be on. I'll have a new boss come Monday morning, and I guess she'll make the decisions on what I get to do. But I'm going to have fun doing it no matter what. So thank you for partnering with the building trades. Thank you for renewing the agreement for 10 years. Chris is going to do a marvelous job. He's a fresh set of eyes, and he's got great ideas, and I know he's going to work good with you. So thank you very much for everything you guys do.
We love you, Ron Miller. We're excited to work with you, Chris. Congratulations. Just this was great. Thank y'all very much. And there ain't nothing I've been more excited about signing very soon than that agreement, Ron.
Thank you.
All right. So with that, thank y'all so much. We have to get to the mundane stuff. This was our highlight for today. Thank you all for joining. Ron, I look forward to seeing you really soon. Chris as well. Thank y'all very much. Brother Davis, I think it's time to take a quick recess.
All right.
We will.
Okay.
I know where my bread's buttered.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
All right.
Bye, Kevin.
We will take a 5-minute recess. We'll turn at 11:37 in the a.m. All right?
All righty.
Bye, Ron. Bye, Chris. Bye, John.
Thank you, Ron.
For those staying on the line, the Board of Public Works is now taking a quick recess at this time. The audio lines are still open to the general public as a reminder. Thank you.
The recording has stopped. This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, Mr. President, the recording is back on. Would you like me to reestablish quorum?
Yes, sir. Please do.
Thank you, Mr. President, newly elected president. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. It's 11:40 a.m. Reestablishing quorum. We have President Good, Vice President Garcia, President Pro Tem Davis, and Commissioner Caloza. President Good, you do have a quorum.
Thank you, Dr. Campos. All right, folks. Let's go. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take. We have a number of assessment hearings here. Mr. Flamenco is with us toward that end. We're going to take items 2, 3, 4. Oh, actually, first off, real quick, I want to note for Dr. Campos, we're going to continue item 19 until Friday, August 13th.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Any objections, colleagues? Okay. So we'll do that, and then let's take items 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 together. So I'm going to do a big long reading, and then Mr. Flamenco will tell us about it, and we'll get it on. So item 2, assessment hearing number 1 in CD 13. This is Fletcher Drive and Avenue 38, Street Lighting Maintenance Assessment District. City Council hearing on August 10, 2021. Item 3 is assessment hearing number 2, Witzel Drive and Holly Line Avenue number 2, Street Lighting Maintenance Assessment District. City Council hearing also on August 10, 2021. Item number 4 in CD 11, assessment hearing number 3, Gorham Avenue and Gretna Greenway, Street Lighting Maintenance Assessment District, City Council hearing August 10, 2021. Item 5, assessment hearing number 4, Glendale Boulevard and Farwell Avenue, Street Lighting Maintenance Assessment District, City Council hearing August 10, 2021. Item number 6, assessment hearing number 5 in CD2. This is Alot Avenue and Irwin Street, Street Lighting Maintenance Assessment District, City Council hearing August 10, 2021. Item 7 is assessment hearing number 6, Vermont Avenue and 157th Avenue, Street Lighting Maintenance Assessment District, City Council hearing August 10, 2021. Item number 8, assessment hearing number 7, Western Avenue and Franklin Avenue, Street Lighting Maintenance Assessment District, City Council hearing August 10, 2021. Item number 9, in CD 12, assessment hearing number 8, Plummer Street and Darby Avenue, Street Lighting Maintenance Assessment District, City Council hearing August 10, 2021. Assessment hearing, item number 10, assessment hearing number 9, Bellevue Avenue and Westlake Avenue in CD 13, Street Lighting Maintenance Assessment District, City Council hearing August 10, 2021. And item number 11, assessment hearing number 10 in CD 11, Venice Boulevard and Francis Avenue, Street Lighting Maintenance Assessment District, City Council hearing August 10, 2021. Gesundheit, Commissioner Closa. I think Mr. Flamenco is here with us to take items 2 through 11. Good morning, Mr. Flamenco.
Ruben, your microphone may be off.
Did we lose Ruben?
Or did we lose him? Let me do a quick search.
He was on.
Yes, we did lose him.
Ms. Pena, have you heard anything from Ruben?
No, let me try reaching out to him. I know he was on the line a few minutes before the end of the presentation. We muted his microphone.
Hi, President Good and everybody. Yes, I'm trying to reach out to Ruben. He must have been confused thinking that the recess meant end of the session, so I'm trying to reach out to him.
Oh, there he is.
There he is. There he is.
Got disconnected. Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you, Ruben. Thank you for joining. Good morning, and thank you, Ms. Pena.
First, congratulations, President Good and Vice President Commissioner Garcia on your re-election, as well as Commissioner Davis on your President Pro Tem appointment, plus Commissioner Colosa and Commissioner Villegas on the great work that you perform. Items 2 through 11 pertain to lighting districts, which we are creating in conjunction with private development projects. Ballots for items 2 through 11 were mailed on June 23rd, 2021. Ballots for items 2 through 11 must be received by the City Clerk's office by Tuesday, August 10th. We have not received any objections to date on items 2 through 11. We are requesting for the board to adopt and forward items 2 through 11 forthwith to City Council.
Thank you, Mr. Flamenco. Any questions or concerns, Commissioner Closa?
None for me. Thank you for your report, Mr. Flamenco.
President Pro Tem Davis?
No objections from me.
Thank you, sir. And then Vice President Garcia?
No objections from me either. Thank you.
All right, I'll take a motion to approve items 2 through 11.
So move. Oh.
Go
Sorry.
ahead, Davis.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it to Garcia as the liaison with BSL, and I'm gonna take yours as a second, President Pro Tem Davis.
Not a problem.
Any concerns, Closa? All right, hearing none. Items 2 through 11 are moved and adopted forthwith. Thank you very much, Mr. Flamenco. You have a great weekend, okay?
Likewise, thank you.
All right. All right, folks. Item 12, this is task order solicitation number 33, Tetra Tech Inc., Penmar Water Quality Improvement Project Phase 3. Recommending the board authorize the city engineer to issue the TOS to Tetra Tech Inc. from the pre-qualified on-call wastewater and environmental engineering services consultants list to provide pre-design, design services, bid and award services, and design services during construction for the Penmar Water Quality Improvement Project Phase 3 as stated in TOS number 33 with a budget authority of $442,893, which includes contingency. work order EW40086D, C-129660. I think I saw Mr. Tam with us.
Mr. Saldine, John Saldine is presenting this item.
Mr. Saldine, I'm looking on the screen. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is John Saldine, Senior Civil Engineer with the Bureau of Engineering. I'd like to present this staff report on this item. First, I would like to request a verbal correction to the task order number indicated in this board report from task order solicitation 33 to task order solicitation 49. Due to an oversight, task order number 33 was previously taken by another project in 2019. And now I'd like to follow up with my staff report on this item. It has a little bit of history. I apologize. This is a phase 3, and so it's going to take me just a couple of minutes to go through the history of this project. Bureau of Engineering is recommending award of TOS 49 to Tetra Tech for design services for the Proposition O Penmar Water Quality Improvement Phase 3 project with a budget authority of $442,893. This project is part of the city's Proposition O program, which was approved by voters in 2004 and is designed to improve stormwater quality and help the city meet stormwater quality standards in our rivers, lakes, and beaches. The Penmar Phase 3 project follows completion of Penmar Phases 1 and 2. Each of the Penmar project phases are designed to divert, clean, and reuse stormwater from a large storm drain in Rose Avenue in Mar Vista before the stormwater outlets to the beach. The Phase 1 project was completed in 2014 under an $11 million contract to divert stormwater and pump it to a large underground tank constructed in Penmar Park. After diverting and capturing the stormwater is released to the sewers for treatment at Hyperion. The Phase 2 project was completed in 2018 under a $3 million contract to reuse the stormwater to provide irrigation water for Penmar Park, Penmar Golf Course, and Marine Park in Santa Monica. The irrigation reuse was approved to meet 2011 guidelines established by the LA County Department of Public Health. Under the Phase 2 project, the treatment of the stormwater for use as irrigation consisted of chlorination and filtration. And the Phase 2 project included a treatment building and a pump and distribution system for irrigation. However, the Public Health Department established stricter guidelines for irrigation reuse in 2016, requiring additional treatment, including removal of some heavy metals and organic compounds to protect exposure to the public. In 2017, the Bureau LA Sanitation and Environment, determined that the Phase 2 project would not meet the 2016 county standards. In November of 2017, LA San began planning for this Phase 3 project to provide additional stormwater treatment to meet the new county standards for irrigation reuse. LA San received approval for a Prop 84 grant funding for this Phase 3 project in the amount of $2.54 million. Under this Phase 3 project, the additional treatment to be added to meet the new irrigation standards is anticipated to consist of a pretreatment device, a new filtration system, and ultraviolet disinfection. LA San received Proposition O Oversight Committee approval for this Phase 3 project in December of 2019, and the Bureau of Engineering issued TOS 49 to all 24 consultants on the on-call wastewater and environmental engineering consultants list in December of 2019. 2 proposals were received in January of 2020, and Tetra Tech was selected by the selection panel based on established criteria. Subsequently, after delays due to the pandemic, the City Council approved the Phase 3 project this past April 2021. Also following the pandemic delay in this past May, LA San informed BOE about a tight grant deadline to complete this Phase 3 project by December of 2022, next year. To meet the deadline, the BOE requested Tetra Tech update their proposal to provide design services for a design-build method of project delivery rather than design and bid-build. In June, Tetra Tech submitted an updated proposal to provide bridging documents to support the proposed design-build contract, and the bridging documents include preparation of 30% plans and specifications, followed by design support services during the design-build contract. The negotiated proposal amount was $402,630, and Tetra Tech has pledged to meet sub-consultant participation levels for this project, including 25.14% to minority, small, and emerging business enterprises. That concludes my staff report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Saldane. I'll open this up for questions. Vice President Garcia.
Thank you, President Good. I don't have any questions. I appreciate your report, and thank you for doing this critical work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. President Pro Tem Davis.
I wanted to ask John, what is the time limit that we anticipate it will take for Tetra Tech to follow through on the assignment that will be given them as a result of this motion?
So, Commissioner, the tight grant deadline is based on the tight grant deadline of completing the construction by December of next year, results in a schedule of only a 3-month schedule for Tetra Tech to prepare the bridging documents, followed by issuing going into a solicitation for the design build contract of approximately to select a design builder approximately 3 months after that. So that will result in about a total of 6 months getting through the bid and award, followed by Tetra Tech is on board to support the design build project as design support services during that approximately 1 year construction design build phase.
Okay. And so you said it initially will take 3 months in terms, is that the pre-design, the design services, and bid and award services?
It is, yes, it is 3 months for the, what we call the bridging documents to prepare the approximately 30% design package to be submitted for the bid and award phase, which would take an additional approximately 3 months after that.
Okay, is that when you say the 3 months after that, are you referring to the design services doing construction of the Panama Water Quality Improvement Project Phase 3?
Yeah.
What's the time period of that phase? I'm thinking that that aspect of the proposal is a little different than the initial ones that we discussed. The continued design services during construction. What, in terms of that aspect, what is the time period and the time frame of that task, of that assignment?
Yes. Let me say that's about a 1 year. Let's just speak roughly, approximately. We're hoping to get the design completed by the end of September or October. The bid and award by approximately January, and then 12 months for construction. It goes from January through December of next year. So that is about a 12-month design build duration for Tetra Tech to provide design support services during that entire duration.
Now, in that description, this $442,000 accommodates their involvement in that task?
Yes, it does.
Ah, okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Commissioner Klosner.
Thank you, President Good. I don't have any questions for Mr. Saldin. Thank you for your report and your work on this. Nothing further from me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Closa. I have no further questions either, Mr. Saldin. This obviously needs to get done. Let's go. Thank you very much. I'll motion to approve the item. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Any concerns or objections, Garcia or Closa?
Mr. President, before the
yes,
continuation
yes,
of the
thank you.
tabulation of votes, just wanted to remind you that there has been a request to consider this item as amended to change the task order number, solicitation number from 33 to 49. I apologize for the interruption of your tabulation, but before the full vote, just wanted to have the board possibly consider the adoption as amended.
Yeah, I will offer the amendment per Mr. Saldin's request to make this toss item number 49 versus 33. Any objections to my motion to amend? All right, so then I will now motion to approve the item as amended. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Garcia, Calosa, any concerns? All right, hearing none, the item as amended is adopted forthwith. Thank you, Dr. Campos, for the reminder. No worries about the interruption. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Saldin.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend.
Thanks a lot.
That brings us, colleagues, to item number 13. Item number 13 is a task order solicitation number 001, Nelson Nygaard, excuse me, recommending the board authorize the director of the Bureau of Sanitation to issue the TOS. This recommendation should be the Bureau of Street Services, should it not?
That is correct. We will make that adjustment on the journal. The report itself is correct.
Okay. So recommending the board authorize the director of the Bureau of Street Services to issue TOS to Nelson Nygaard from the Department of Transportation's pre-qualified on-call professional consultant services list to provide professional consultant service to implement the 2028 Olympic Legacy Street Improvements Plan as stated in TOS 001 with a budget authority of $497,148, including contingency C-135320. Mr. Tang, are you here to present on this item?
Yes, I am.
All right, welcome.
Thank you. Hello, President Good and commissioners. My name is Kenneth Tang. I am the acting senior civil engineer for our advanced planning and grant management division. So I'm here to seek your authorization to issue the TOS to Nelson Nygaard for the 2028 Olympic Street Improvement projects. Just to provide you with a quick background on the project itself, in fall of 2019, Caltrans announced their Sustainability Transportation Planning Grant. And in alignment with our Bureau Integrated and Holistic Street Infrastructure Objective, we applied for the grant. And in the fall of 2020, we were informed that we received the award for $497,250. And the objective for the project is to actually look at the street around 4 major venues and look at from the lens of a legacy for the Olympic Games and find opportunity to build street for more multi-benefit improvement and focus on prioritizing investment in disadvantaged community area. And also to provide a safer, environmental friendly street condition to promote public transportation. Part of the scope, like I mentioned, is to look at 4 major venues that are likely to be part of the Olympic Games. We're looking at the Expo Park, USC, LA Live, and Grand Park. And to achieve this, we would like to take a data-driven and deep community engagement approach to this process. So we designed the scope of work itself to start off by forming advisory committee. That's both technical advisory committee and the community advisory committee. And after that, go into the actual research for literature and data collection to create a venue profile. Then perform walk audit between the community and the technical advisor. And after that, we develop a network of recommendation and validate the local agency and the community needs. And after that, we'll develop a 2028 Legacy Street Improvement Report, and we'll present it to council and the board and everyone who's a stakeholder involved in this process. And with that, we know that this project was developed pre-pandemic, so we had asked the team to adjust that for all these engagement to make sure they are aware and take appropriate action to address that. The project is anticipated to start at the end of this month and basically completed in April of 2023. The task was issued out in January 4th of this year, and we issue out to all the LADOT professional consultant services list, and we received 8 proposals. And after a comprehensive selection process, we determined that Nelson Nygaard was the most qualified team to take on this project. And we are proud to say that Nelson Nygaard also exceeded the business inclusion participation level in all category. For the MBE is 22%, for the WBE 8%, for the SBE 29%, the EBE 8%, DVBE 8%, OBE 32%. So with that, I conclude my report, and I'm here to answer any question you may have about the project.
Thank you, Mr. Tang. Appreciate that. President Pro Tem Davis, why don't you kick us off?
Thank you. Mr. Tang, thank you for this report. I'm trying to better understand just the concept of what we're seeking to do here. The Nelson Nygaard firm that has been selected for the TOS will be held with the responsibility to go into these identified communities that you've discussed in the motion, and going in to get an intrinsic evaluation from the neighbors in that area about what street improvements are needed in those identified areas. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And so whatever those advisory committees come up with that are recommendations on how to improve a certain identified street area to improve, then we will explore and make a decision on those recommendations in terms of which one we're going to move forward with for an improvement in a certain given area identified. Is that pretty accurate?
That's accurate.
Okay. And the the name of this project is Olympic Legacy Street Improvements Plan. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, and so that covers a regional area of which the neighborhoods you've identified are part of, right?
That's
correct. You mentioned Exposition Park. And so I'm trying to juxtapose Exposition Park as it fits into this Olympic Legacy Improvement Plan. So the Exposition Park community's street improvement recommendations can be found in the Olympic Legacy Improvement Plan, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure I understood that. And the costs, obviously, you've already identified for us. And what did you tell us that the time period of this would be?
It would conclude the project in April 2023.
I see. Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Commissioner Coloso.
Thank you, President Good. Thank you for your report, Mr. Tang. I have a few follow-up questions as well, and wanted to better understand a few things. Can you explain a little bit more about kind of, what specific tasks this consultant is going to engage in as it relates to public engagement and community outreach. I asked that because it says that their plan and what they're going to really tasked to do is to kind of work with the community to follow up on what Dr. Davis was saying and to implement community-driven solutions to improve our infrastructure. But I don't think I actually read any details about what that would entail in this TOS. Could you explain a little bit more?
Yeah, so the Nelson Nygaard is the prime. There are multiple sub, and these sub are really community level team that can have a really good understanding on the community needs, and they would be working directly with developing that steering committee, the community advisory committee, to make sure that all the voice in that community is being heard. And the technical side of this, the Nelson Nygaard and the team also will be working with different stakeholders who have investment into the street, right? To come together to align, ensure that whatever the result of this project can be integrated with the other agencies work around that area as well. And going back to more of the community engagement part, like I said, forming a committee is the first step. However, that's not the end of that. We need to really engage them and through various process throughout, right? The walk audit is one of the major steps to have the community experience. What type of improvement are we talking about here? And then work with
Chef Marilyn.
Oh, sorry. And then also work with the community to develop that sport network recommendation and making sure that they have their voice heard and built into the project itself, and even doing a reporting part, they will be involved in the review and the development of that as well.
Got it. Okay. And then the results of that survey, you would then assume you would share a copy with the board. I'm sure many people here on the board would love to know and see what information you gather from this advisory committee.
Of course.
The other question I had, and I know that this is a California Department of Transportation opportunity. I was just curious to know, is that why you utilize the on-call list from the Department of Transportation instead of, like, for instance, an on-call list from our own department, like with the Bureau of Engineering?
So the Department of Transportation have a more planning and the community engagement type of list that more suited for these type of engagement work, deep community engagement and mobility integrated work. And we saw that as an opportunity for us to not only use their bench, but also have ability to integrate it in the way we work with them. Right, so that is the purpose of us using that bench.
Okay, I'm just looking at who responded when you put out, this TOS, and these consultant names are familiar. They look like on-call consultants that we have within our own bench within Public Works. So I guess that's where I'm trying to understand why we didn't use our own list.
So
they're very similar contractors, right? If not the same.
That's correct. And perhaps because this project is focused on the planning side, the other list that these consultants are in, they actually in wastewater or more engineering design based. And since this is a planning effort, so we figured that these are the focus planning type of bench that we would like to tap into, and which is why we went with the one that LADOT has developed.
Okay. And I know there's a deadline for this grant. My recommendation for the future, we do have on-call consultants lists who do similar work within Public Works, within our own bench. And I know that you've worked successfully with BOE on lots of these projects. I would recommend that you actually work with and talk to the Bureau of Engineering first before we go outside of our department and use another on-call list, only because I don't see, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, these are very similar, if not the same contractors that we have on our list. So that would be my recommendation to you, Mr. Tang, for future grant projects that we work as a team within our own public works family first. But I really appreciate, of course, your work in Streets LA's work in making sure that we chase down these precious grant dollars, which I know are really important to advancing a lot of these projects. And the minor question I had was just around the budget, and it's only a difference of about $102, but I just wanted to see if something needed to be corrected, only because I saw two different numbers, like in the actual TOS document, and then what was kind of outlined in the board report in some of the explanation of the grant award, that the grant award is $497,250. And then I think in the actual table, it says $497,148. And so it's only, again, a very minor difference. I just don't know if that was just like a small clerical error or admin error, but I just wanted to note in case we needed to clean anything up while we're in this discussion before we awarded it, just so we get our numbers consistent.
Yeah, so the the $250 number is actually the total grant amount, while Nelson Nygaard proposal is the smaller number, the $148 amount. So since we are intended only to use the contracting amount as part of the grant budget, so we are leaving that $140 out of the project here.
So to clarify, you're just trying to add that to the contingency. So do we need to update the table to reflect the updated contingency amount? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So should we correct that on the board report?
Yes.
So it's actually, so it adds up. What I'm trying to say. Again, it's such a small amount of money, so I hate to pick at it, but I just want to make sure, since this is state dollars that we're handling, that we are consistent with what you're saying to reflect the actual document that an item that we're voting on.
That's correct, and we'll make the adjustment here.
Okay, great. If you want me to do some quick math, I think your contingency is $16,195, but you can check that and confirm before we make an amendment to that table. But I appreciate all your work on this. I'm super excited to see what the community says about what kind of street improvements they'd like in relation to the Olympic Games in and around these stadiums. And I don't have any other questions. Thank you, President Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Closa. Vice President Garcia.
Thank you, President Good. Mr. Tang, thank you for your report. And you're in the Grants Management Division. Good to meet you. I had not met you before, but look forward to working with you more. Are you new in that division?
No, but I'm focused more on the asset management side, and this have quite a bit of connection with the asset management side, so I was asked to take the lead on this project.
Okay, I could see that. Okay, no problem. Thank you for that and for the work that you do. So I just have very minimal questions, and one of my questions is, you said that there's going to be a technical and a community advisory committee. Can you tell me who's going to be on your technical, or what kind of folks are you going to identify for that? And how are you going to identify your community advisory?
Right. So when we, the technical side, we know that all the city agencies that have a stake in those right-of-way need to be consulted and be part of that team. Further, we also needed to engage with the LA 28 to make sure that anything that will planned here are integrated and perhaps leveraged through that effort. right? So, and beyond that, we also know that we have other entities that outside of our city that need to be engaged to make sure those activity are aligned with them as well. In terms of the community engagement itself, we brought in team that have a really great understanding of the community and the activists in those community, and they doing their research into, and when they kick off this project is to really get that activist and the community leader together and determine who are the stakeholders who are relevant in these decisions, so that when we develop, these are the voice that we heard are truly from the community.
Good. I want to make sure that as you develop your community advisory committee, that we are hitting our underserved communities, our activists and our stakeholders from that area. I also want to make sure that you're also hitting yours, our Spanish speakers and also other languages that are spoken as well, and understand what their needs and their challenges are. And most definitely, I also want to please take in consideration families and their mobility. I love the fact that we're going, into other avenues, but we still have a lot of folks that move in family units. They have to carry their kids in their cars. They have to do. So I just want you to always keep that in mind as well as you guys put together this plan for LA 2028 streets. And secondly, when do you expect to have this plan completed and have findings?
We would have the complete of the project is in April 2023. However, the plan itself for first draft of review, it would be 8 months before that, so around August or September of 2022.
Okay, so that's next year already. Can you come back to the board and present that to us before it becomes, public and I don't want to say finalized or adopted, because I think we're going to do that here at the board. But can you come and share that with us so that before it becomes a final product, we can have some kind of comments on it and make sure that it's visualized and that there's equity in that in as we move forward?
Of course.
Okay.
That was
Thank
the
you.
intent.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I thought so, but I just didn't, wanted to make sure. So we expect to see you back on board sometime October 22 with all of this info. Got it.
Of course.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Tang. Good job on your presentation today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. Commissioners Coloso and Vice President Garcia covered most of my questions. I appreciate that. And I will entertain a motion to move the item forward.
I'll move it.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Any additional concerns or questions, Commissioner Coloso? Okay. Do we need to, Dr. Campos, do we need to make an amendment on the numbers and or the recommendation in the agenda, or will that just be corrected in the journal?
The recommendations on the agenda and the journal can be made. However, if you would like to memorialize the changes in the board report under the tables and the contingency as Commissioner Coloso referenced in her deliberations, then your board would have to make a recommendation to adopt as amended. And then the Bureau representative or Mr. Tang or Commissioner Coloso would need to indicate what modifications that would look like.
Commissioner Coloso, do you want to take a whack at that?
Sure. Maybe I'll just pause for a second and ask Mr. Tang just to make sure that that contingency amount that I first referenced should be what's in the table, just so you don't have extra few $100s floating in the air that don't add up. So the contingency that I had kind of counting for the difference is $16,195. Is that what you have, Mr. Tang?
Pulling up my calculator as well, so give me 1 second.
What about
And,
$2?
Yeah, $102, so
It's important for our accounting purposes.
yeah.
No, I was just quoting the movie Better Off Dead. The kid who wants his paper route. So,
So that's correct. It's 16,195 as a contingency.
Great. So I will offer an amendment to the board report on page 4 under the first table to update the contingency amount to $16,195.
okay. So then, Dr. Campos, we will. Did we have a motion before?
We do have a motion by Commissioner Garcia, seconded by Commissioner Davis, so we can ask Commissioner Garcia if she would be open to amending her motion to include the amendment on page 4 of Table 1 to change the contingency amount to $16,195 as proposed by Commissioner Caloza.
Yes, I'm fine with that.
Great. And Dr. Davis, would you continue to second that motion as amended?
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Great, thank you. Any objections?
No. Any last questions, Commissioner Colosso? All right, hearing none, the item is adopted as amended forthwith.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tang.
Thank you.
Okay, folks, let's move on to item 14. Item 14 is a report back graffiti removal photos. Recommending the board receive this report regarding the posting of photos in the Mile 311 for certain graffiti removal requests which meet specific guidelines, and 2, request a future report regarding metrics and process improvements related to the monitoring of graffiti removal work in the city of Los Angeles, and request a further update from the Office of Community Beautification at a period of time to be determined by the board. Mr. Roch, it looks like is with us. Good afternoon, Mr. Roch.
Good afternoon, Paul Roch, Director of the Office of Community Beautification. Here to provide a quick update from our last report to the Board of Public Works, which was in February of 2021, regarding the uploading of photos, graffiti abatement photos, into the MyLA 311 database. As everybody is aware, OCB contracts with various nonprofit community-based organizations who provide graffiti removal services throughout the city of Los Angeles. These contractors receive requests from and upload the work that they perform into the city's MyLA 311 database. Over the past year, OCB has been working with ITA on a field app that will allow these contractors to close out graffiti removal requests in the field and to upload photos of the completed work as well. These contractors have been provided with certain criteria as to when a photo should be uploaded into the database. This criteria includes when there was an actual request for service, when the graffiti was larger than 50 square feet, and when the abatement crews felt that they could safely take a photo of the graffiti without putting themselves at risk. OCB started training the various contractors on the use of the field application in March of this year, and at this point, all but 2 of the OCB contractors have been trained and are currently utilizing the field application. The final 2 contractors will be receiving training next week, which does put us ahead of schedule that was originally presented to the Board of Public Works. All trained contractors have been using the field application except for the 2 that have yet to be trained to upload photos. For the most part, they are reporting positive results. Sometimes the system runs a little bit slow and takes them a little while, but overall they are happy with the the system as it's working out. I know that there are some various issues that are still out there regarding metrics for graffiti removal, process improvements on monitoring of the work performed, etc. And we look forward to updating the board on those items at a future date. Otherwise, if there are any questions regarding uploading of photos into the MyLA 311 database, I would be available to answer those questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roch. Colleagues, we've had a lot of conversation about this over the last year. Let's start with President Pro Tem Davis.
Paul, on this report, is this a quarterly report?
Well, this is not the actual quarterly report that OCB occasionally provides to the board. This is just a report back, as we were asked when we gave the presentation in February to the board, to come back and give an update, because at the February one, we outlaid sort of our schedule of when our various contractors were going to receive training and the percentage of photos that were being uploaded into the system. So this is kind of a follow-up presentation just to let the board know where we are at this point as far as having photos uploaded.
So most of those agencies and stakeholders who are part of the program have received the appropriate instruction on how to upload to date. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
And there was some concern prior to about the level of detail in which we painted over graffiti as it relates to not only comprehensively painting it over, but also making sure that the color was an appropriate match for wherever we decided to do the work. Is that information and instruction a part of what we're going to do with these vendors or stakeholders in the program?
Well, OCB is continually monitoring the quality of the work performed by our contractors. We have staff that go out into the field, and one of the things that they do grade the work on is the color matching and making sure that the contractors are using appropriate colors on the walls and stuff like that. By having our contractors upload photos, it does give us another opportunity to go into the system and look at the work that's being performed that way as well. Or if somebody should call and complain and say, you know, their graffiti was not removed, or they felt that it was a poorly done job, our staff is able to go in and look at the photos and document that, you know, if the work was performed, we see photos of that. If somebody's saying that the work was done in poor quality, then the photos can also document that one way or the other also.
So good, we have people in place. Overall, what would you say is any remaining task that needs to be complete as it relates to working with the stakeholders around this particular assignment?
Pretty much just our last two contractors getting trained, which are Hollywood Beautification Team and Sylmar Graffiti Busters. They're scheduled to be trained next week, and you know, there is a learning process, so you know, we got to kind of work with them and their staff as they go through, once they receive the training of uploading the photos, knowing which types of photos to upload, and stuff like that. But we do anticipate that before the year is out, that all of our contractors will be uploading, you know, 100% of the photos that meet the criteria that was presented.
My final question, since we've had this pandemic, Delta variant environment, have you seen or observed any increase or decrease in the work that we have to do in this area?
Well, there's certainly an increase in the amount of graffiti that is out there now. And I don't know if it's necessarily related to the pandemic or anything like that. Typically, summer is always a busy time as far as graffiti abatement. Kids are out of school. It's easier to hang out late in the evening and get together with your friends or go out and write on the walls. Also, there are a lot of issues that are generating political type of protest, and that tends to lead to graffiti and stuff as well. So graffiti is definitely up. Whether it's directly related to the pandemic or not, I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fair enough. Thank you so much, Mr. President. I appreciate the update.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Commissioner Colosa?
Thank you, President Good. Thank you for your report, Mr. Rex. And I don't have any questions for you. You know, we've worked closely on this with Vice President Garcia and have been intimately involved on implementing, getting our contractors into utilizing the 311 app more and uploading of the photos. It helps for so many things. Especially as it relates to, you know, accountability, especially as it relates to performance, and also just that's our new environment, right? Contactless online on our smart devices. So it's really us modernizing our systems. And so it's a really great that this report shows everything is on track. And I know that was not despite challenges. And I know you've managed this on limited staff capacity, so I want to definitely acknowledge you and your entire team. I know you have a few people out of the office right now, but that didn't stop you from continuing to implement and train our contractors to make sure that they felt comfortable using this new technology, which I know can be scary for a program that's been mostly paper-based for many decades. So now all of a sudden have to, you know, move it to an app, into a phone. And so I commend your team for that, especially to, I think it's Thomas who's done a lot of the training.
Thomas Corrales is our primary point as far as training all the contractors, being there to answer their questions. Yes.
Wonderful. Yeah, I definitely want to thank Thomas and for his work on that. And the last thing, I just want to give a big thanks to ITA for their help and support. I know there are some issues that we had, especially with the geo-tracking for the app. Pinpointing us in the middle of the Pacific Ocean that they fixed, which, you know, as if they didn't have many more things and issues being brought to their table during COVID pandemic. You know, we asked them to dig deep and to spend some time with us looking at our implementation of this graffiti removal, photo transfer. So I just wanted to thank them. And I think that's really it for me. I look forward to our continued work with you, and thank you for your leadership on this. I think we've managed to accomplish a lot, even in the midst of a pandemic. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Colosa. Vice President Garcia?
Thank you, President Good. I echo also my colleagues' sentiments, Commissioner Colosa, just on thanking everyone at the OCB team. Paul, thank you. Thank you for helping us move our contractors in this way and phasing in this new technology that now they're adopted and now they're using. You know, more to come, obviously, as we keep on moving into, new technology or contactless, and making sure that we keep everybody safe. But so thank you for your leadership. Thank you to your staff. I really like working with everybody in OCB, and you really have a good department. And I've said it since day one too. You really have a good department of hardworking folks that want the best for the city. So I continue to applaud you and continue to make sure that we make that happen as a team. So thank you, Paul, for that. No real questions on my end. I've also been very involved in this process, so I know where we're at. Look forward to our second phase of moving us forward with all of the LCD contractors. That's all for me. Thank you, President Good, and thank you for. Also want to thank the contractors, and please let them know on our behalf that we thank them for their flexibility and their nimbleness to make sure that they incorporated these new photo uploading. And definitely thanks to Summer Graffiti Dusters for making sure that they also got on board on this. So other than that, have a good weekend, Mr. Raj, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I very much agree, Vice President Garcia and Commissioner Colosa. You've really worked hard on this, Paul, and worked hard with the commissioners to, and obviously the contractors who also have come to play. So it's very heartening. It was heartening to read that report and see it's happening. Good stuff. So good progress. Looking forward to continuing to hear how the training goes over the course of the remainder of the year, and seeing the work on the metrics and the metrics and data that we want to see come out of it. So thank you very much, Mr. Roch. I appreciate it. I will take a motion to receive and file this report.
Don't move.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Any concerns, Commissioner Colosa? All right. Hearing none, this report is received and filed. Thank you so much, Paul. Have a great weekend. Okay.
Great, thank you.
All right. That brings us to item 15. Item 15 is in CD 11. Here we go, Ethan. Sole source procurement, ozone disinfection system equipment and services, low flow treatment facility 1, Bayona Creek Water Quality Improvements Capital Improvement Project J598, and low flow treatment facility 2, Sepulveda Channel Low Flow Treatment Facility CIP J925. Recommending the board, 1, authorize the director of the Bureau of Sanitation to request the city engineer to sole source the selection of Xylem Inc., the ozone disinfection system equipment, containerized ozone generation system, vacuum swing absorption, oxygen generation system, air-cooled closed-loop chiller system, ozone injection system, ozone destruct system, ozone contact tank, ozone instrumentation, demisters, control valves, local control panel, programmable logic controller, and master control panel, PLC, and services, engineering, software development, graphics, installation, loop checks, integration with the distributed control system, installation, inspection, and approval, functional testing, startup and commissioning, operation and maintenance manuals, revisions, optimization plan in compliance with the operating permit by the Los Angeles Regional Water Quality Control Board for an amount not to exceed $4,577,000 for the low flow treatment facility 1, Bayona Creek Water Quality Improvements Project, CIP J598. Excuse me. 2, authorize the director of the Bureau of Sanitation to request the city engineer to sole source the selection of Xylem Inc., the ozone disinfection system equipment, containerized ozone generation system, VSA oxygen generation system, air-cooled and loop chiller system, ozone injection system, ozone destruct system, ozone contact tank, instrumentation, demisters, control valves, LCP PLC, and MCP PLC, and services, engineering, software development, graphics, installation, loop checks, integration with the DCS, installation, inspection, and approval, functional testing, startup and commissioning, operation and maintenance manuals, revisions, and optimization plan in compliance with the operating permit for an amount not to exceed $3,351,000 for the low flow treatment facility 2, Sepulveda Channel Low Flow Treatment Facility Project CIP J925, and 3, authorize the city engineer to negotiate a price agreement with Xylem Inc. for the above referenced 2 ozone disinfection systems, which will be procured and installed by the general contractor awarded the construction project WOS33WLFT2. All right. Thank you, Mr. Walters. Thank you very much. Mr. Wong, the word was in there, so demystify us around this issue or this item.
Thank you, President Good, and congratulations on reading that, as well as your re-election to be president of the board. And congrats as well to Vice President Garcia and President Pro Tem Davis and Commissioner Calosa and Commissioner Villegas on your continued efforts in making public works a great place to work. So to the report, before I go into why we are requesting the sole source the ozone disinfection system to Xylem Inc., just some background on the projects. So both Ballona Creek and the Sepulveda Channel contribute runoff to the Santa Monica Bay. The cities of Los Angeles, Beverly Hills, Culver City, Inglewood, West Hollywood, the County of Los Angeles, and the Los Angeles County Flood Control District are collectively working together to decrease the bacterial content of water that flows into the bay. So that's the main reason why we are doing these projects, both the Ballona Creek as well as the Sepulveda Channel low flow treatment projects. So what these projects will do is basically divert flow from the channels during dry weather to a treatment center. In this treatment center, we will be basically disinfecting the water with an ozone treatment. So that brings me to our sole source requests for both of these project sites. So the Xylem equipment was actually approved by the board back in May of 2018 to be used for a demonstration project at the Donald C. Tillman Water Reclamation Plant. So since that time, we've worked with Xylem to construct that demonstration project and put that in service. And what we have observed is the equipment works very well at disinfecting water. And we've learned a lot and been able to operate and maintain that system effectively. And to avoid duplication of costs for training of operations and maintenance staff, it's highly recommended that we continue to use Xylem on our other projects that will use this ozone disinfection technology. So the ozone disinfection technology produces ozone from oxygen that's within the air on site in these in the equipment, and the ozone basically is injected into the water, and what it does is it oxidizes the bacteria and microbes that can be in this runoff, basically neutralizing those and killing the bacteria, so that we have clean water, and then that water can be rerouted back into the channel, and part of the flow will also be rerouted to Hyperion for future recycled water purposes. Be happy to answer any questions about that. That pretty much concludes my report, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wong. President Pro Tem Davis.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Wong, for this report. In terms of the ozone disinfection system, equipment and services, please elaborate for me how and when we will need to use the ozone disinfectant system services as it relates to the provisions in this motion.
So if I understand your question correctly, your question was when we need to use the ozone?
Correct.
Okay, so so basically, going back to the scope of work for the project. So just taking Ballona Creek for example purposes. So there's an existing stormwater channel. What we're going to do is we're going to cut a trough in the existing concrete to basically divert flow to a pumping plant. There will be a wet well there, so the pumps will basically pump water to this ozone contact chamber. The ozone generating equipment is creating ozone all the time, basically, during dry weather flow. So, roughly 330 days a year, this equipment will be in service, creating ozone from the air, from the oxygen. And then as the water is passing through the contact chamber, the ozone will be injected into the contact chamber. The disinfection process will happen in those few seconds, or up to 30 seconds maybe of contact time that the ozone is contacting with the water. The water will go into a vessel to degas that, where the ozone will be separated from the water, and then the water will be, now that it's clean and disinfected, will be released back to the Bayona Creek. And then part of it will also be diverted to Hyperion for that specific project. Does that answer?
Okay, so what part will be diverted to Hyperion?
The exact amount is, hold on one sec.
What kind of flow are we directing to Hyperion?
What kind of flow, like whether it's treated or
correct?
Yeah,
correct.
before the treatment process, we're going to divert to Hyperion,
and then Hyperion will therefore treat it.
Exactly. Yes.
And in terms of the disinfectant system, how does that play into? Well, when we send it to Hyperion, they'll be responsible for it once it gets there, for whatever processes there are.
Exactly.
Okay. I think that answers my question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just a quick note: we have Brett Perry from our Watershed Protection Division to help support any questions you or any other commissioner may have, Commissioner Davis.
Thank you so much, Doug. Appreciate that. Did you have anything to add, Brett?
I think Ethan did a good explanation. Basically, these are multi-benefit projects that we're trying to design. So the portion of the water that gets treated with the ozone would then help benefit the habitat and the environment downstream. And then the other portion that gets diverted to Hyperion would help with our water supply goals. So we're trying to make the best use of the available urban runoff to meet our water quality regulation goals, but also use the water resources that are currently just flowing out to the ocean.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mike. Commissioner Coloso.
Thank you, President Good. I don't have any questions on this item. I think Mr. Wong's presentation was detailed and incredibly helpful. And I just want to thank him and BOE and, of course, LA Sanitation for all the work on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Coloso. Vice President Garcia.
Thank you, President Good, and thank you, Ethan, for your report. Although very lengthy and wordy, but that's good. That President Good read that. He can practice his out loud reading skills. I do have a question. I see here that this is a cooperation between other cities. I saw other cities on the report here. Are they also coming in with the same amount of work and the same amount of funding to this project?
I think Brett may be able to answer that a little bit better.
Absolutely. Because these are such large regional projects, we're identifying numerous streams of funding, and that's all still coming together. But one important part of that is a cost-sharing MOA with all of our project partners, and they'll all be cost-sharing based on their drainage area that'll flow into each facility. So just throwing out a number, let's say Beverly Hills is 4% of the drainage area to one of these facilities, they would pay in for 4% of the cost. So
okay.
That's the basis of that cost sharing.
Okay. Are we the highest cost sharing?
Yes, by far. I believe all of our partners add up to about 20%.
What's our percentage?
I don't have them in front of me, but we're about 80% overall. Yes.
Okay, 80. There you go. Okay, thank you for that. And my other question, and I imagined I was trying to read it through the report, see if I found it, but is this project by any chance related to the Advanced Water Purification Project, or are those two whole completely different projects?
Yeah, they're completely different projects.
Okay, Okay, good to have that perspective, because sometimes they're intertwined and sometimes they're not. Okay, got it. I think that those were my big questions on this. Just making sure that we're accountable of our space, but also the other cities also making sure that they also play a role in this, and also helps with some of the funding, and it's not. So will the 5 million, which I think that's about the cost, 4 point something, is that the total amount, or will you be coming again for more?
That's the total amount for the Biona Creek equipment costs, but the overall project is in the $40 million range.
Okay, not surprised. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you so much for your report, and to the sanitation team that's here.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. Just one quick clarifying question. I think you answered it earlier, Ethan and Mr. Perry. So, for example, with the Biona Creek, you said basically what we're going to be doing is diverting some percentage to Hyperion that will be ozonified, and then some that will be still going out to the bay that will also be ozonified. I have made up a word there. What are the rough percentages?
So it's a good question. Go ahead, Brett.
Yeah. So the Biona facility is much larger, so I'll give you those first. The design capacity for the facility overall is 29 million gallons per day, and then that's the 90th percentile flow observed in Biona Creek. Of that, 6 MGD will be treated with ozone on site and returned to the creek, and that's to support the water quality regulations and the environment downstream.
How much?
6 MGD.
Okay.
So we have a very large excess of capacity, the extra 23 MGD, which would go directly to Hyperion. I must note, a typical day, the average flow is closer to 10 or 11 MGD. So on a typical day, the actual numbers would be close to half and half, about 5 to 6 MGD each day. But we have to design for larger capacities so that we maintain compliance.
That was extremely helpful. Thank you. I will motion to move that on forward. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. I think it was a tie. We had seconds from Davis and Colosa.
Well, I'll do it. Who made the motion?
I did.
Oh, okay, let Colosa do it.
I got a second from Colosa. Davis, Garcia, any concerns?
None for me.
All right. Hearing no concerns, the item is adopted and approved forthwith. Thank you, Mr. Wong. Thank you, Mr. Perry. Y'all have great week. Thank you, Mr. Walters. Y'all have great weekends, okay?
Thank you.
All right, folks, that brings us to item 16. Item 16 is an authority for expenditure. Department of Fish and Wildlife, Bureau of Engineering, and Office of Accounting are requesting board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $33,665.75 for the incidental take permit fees for the Los Angeles Riverway San Fernando Valley Completion Project. AE 22682002M, Fund 682, Engineering Special Services Fund, Department number 50, Appropriation Unit 50 PBCN. Mr. Malice, are you with us on this item?
Yes, I am.
Okay, please proceed.
Good morning, President and Commissioners. Norm Malhus, Senior Engineer, Architecture Division, Bureau of Engineering. So this project is for the LA Riverway San Fernando Valley Completion Project. It's a 3-mile bike path from Van Alden Avenue all the way to Balboa. A certain portion of this bike path is a 0.6 mile. It's within the Sepulveda Basin, and within that stretch, there is riparian habitat, and there is wildlife in that area. And the Department of Fish and Wildlife has asked us to stipulate that we have to do an incidental take permit, because within that area there's been spotted endangered species, which is the least Bell's vireo, and because of that reason, it's considered that our project may potentially harm the least Bell's vireo, even though we're not going to be removing any vegetation or harming them in any way, shape, or form. It's just part of a protocol that they have that we would have to, prepare some mitigation measures to reduce any kind of potential harm to this endangered species. And that's what this incidental take permit is. And that's what the fees are. So the fees are just to apply for it. We're preparing the incidental take permit. and proposing some mitigation fees for it. And that's what this application is for.
All right, thanks, Mr. Morales. Vice President Garcia, any questions?
Yes, thank you, President Good. Mr. Nur, nice seeing you. I haven't seen you in a while now, so good to see you again.
See you.
Question: is this part of the Sepulveda Basin?
This is actually part of the bike path. However, this area where there is going to be some potential, harm to the endangered species is within that Sepulveda Basin area. It's between Orange Line Busway and Balboa Boulevard.
Okay, I see. And so we're improving the bikeway, which is our public right of way, but we're getting a permit because we're in part of this wildlife. So let me ask you a question. Now, I understand that area has not been cleared. So are these permits also to help clean the Sepulveda Basin, or is it just for that piece that we're going to work on?
It's just that for that area, just that we're going to work on. And actually, as a matter of fact, that area from Orange Line to Balboa, where this incidental take permit is, the river is a soft bottom where it does have a lot of riparian habitat, the green, and we haven't cleared that. That place hasn't been cleared.
Oh, okay.
That's actually the main crux of it. The issue is that since it hasn't been cleared and it's part of that area, a lot of the leaf spells variable have been seen flying around.
I see.
And because of that reason, the Fish and Wildlife want us to do this ITP permit.
I got it. But good job on getting the permit. I don't know if did it take a long time for this process to happen?
Well, we're still working on the permit. This is just to get the fee to apply for it. So once you prepare the permit, once I prepare it, then I will submit that permit fee, the $33,000, and then they'll review it and approve it. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you so much. Keep me, if you can keep me posted on this, I look forward to supporting this project, especially, the public right of way on this part of it. So thank you for that.
Sure.
That's all for me, President Good.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. President Pro Tem Davis.
No questions for me.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Coloso.
Thanks, President Good. I don't have any questions for Mr. Malhis. Thank you for your report.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Malice. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Coloso. Do I have a second?
Second.
Oh.
And I got 2 seconds, Davis and Garcia, and I don't object. So the item is adopted and approved and moved forward forthwith. Thank you, Mr. Malice. Have a great weekend. Okay, item 17 is a release of stop payment notice. Michael P. Lavoie, DBA The Drain Whisperer. Michael P. Lavoie, DBA The Drain Whisperer is transmitting proof of payment to satisfy the conditional release of stop payment notice in the amount of $104,703 for work done in connection with the Lafayette Triangle Bridge Housing Project. The primary contractor for this project is HBG Construction Corporation, C-133331, or C-133316, communication number 122512, or filed on July 23, 2021. Do I have a motion to accept and move this forward?
So moved.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. Got a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Coloso. President Pro Tem Davis, any concerns?
No concerns for me.
All right, hearing none, item 17 is approved and moved forward forthwith. All right, that brings us to item 18. I believe, is that where, let's see, who do we have for item 18 presenting?
Mr. Young.
Mr. Young, where are you, Mr. Young?
He's on the line. There he goes.
Oh, there we go. Hey, James Young, how you doing, sir?
How you doing? Good afternoon, President Good, Commissioners, Bureau Representatives, and Dr. Campos. My name is James Young. I'm Superintendent of Streets LA Reconstruction Division. This information is being provided to keep public informed on upcoming resurfacing projects and to minimize impact on the community as well as delays. For additional information or concern, you can contact our coordinating section for the Street Renewal Division. We would like to provide the update of the Valley and Metro regions. During the week of August 1st through August 7th, 2021, the Valley and Metro regions will complete 17 projects for the total lane miles of 11.19. The press releases were distributed and notified and have been issued. Streets LA has coordinated with council offices to assist with outreach of stakeholders. We have coordinated with Los Angeles Department of Transportation for traffic control assistance. This information is also available on Streets LA website. And that's it for my report.
Thanks, Mr. Young. Any questions, colleagues? All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Young. You have a great weekend, okay?
You too.
Thank you. All right. We've continued item 19 to August 13th. Let's move to item number 20, status of all personal services contracts plus policy number 793. Who all do we have with us, Dr. Campos? I see Nancy, I see Victor.
We have a series of folks here on item number 20. So just really quickly, the Bureau of Contract Administration and also the Bureau of Street Lighting do not have anything to report, so therefore there's no representatives presenting on this item number 20. For the Bureau of Engineering, we have 3 presenters, Mr. Ray Sasson, Ryan Tolles, and Richard Louie. For the Bureau of Sanitation, we have Ms. Nancy Lanton. And then for the Bureau of Street Services, we are joined by both Victor Cortez and Melinda Chow.
Thank you, Dr. Campos. All right, let's start with sanitation and Ms. Lanton. You're muted, Ms. Lanton.
Sorry. Okay, there we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Good. Good afternoon, everybody. Nancy Lanton from LA Sanitation and Environment. My report today is for the quarterly personal services contract report for the quarter ending June 30, 2021, which is the 4th quarter of fiscal year 2021. Since my last report, the total amount billed on our personal services contracts is $23.9 million. Total for these contracts under subcontractor participation under the old BPW program is $2.4 million. And under the Business Inclusion Program, $21.4 million. Under the MeeBee Outreach Program contracts, we have 29.7% to WBEs with a total of $735,000. Under our Business Inclusion Program contracts, subcontractor participation is 7.1% MBE, 1.1% WBE, 5.0% SBE, 4.4% EBE, 0.1% DVBE, and 7% for OBE, with a total of $3.5 million paid, and that's 16.5% of our contracts. For this reporting period, we do have 2 contracts in our solid waste program that will be expiring within the next 9 months. One of those contracts will not be renewed. This is with Rainbow Environmental Services, which expires this September. This is for the receipt, processing, and reuse of green material, food material, and horse manure from our curbside collection program. We do have another contract that we will utilize for these services. And the second contract is with USA Waste of California, or Waste Management, that expires November 8th of this year. This is also for the receipt, processing, reuse of green material, food material, and horse manure from our curbside collection program. We are preparing a 3-year renewal of this contract as well as an amendment. That board report is currently being prepared in sanitation for board approval. For my update on our task order solicitations, I'll first give you an update on our on-call contracts for sanitation's automation and technology projects. We do have 9 on-call contracts under that category that did expire April 8th, 2021. A one-year extension to those contracts is being exercised, and an amendment to extend the contracts for another 5 years is being prepared. The board report for the extension is currently being prepared by our staff, and it will be before board shortly. Under these on-call contracts, total contract amount is $17.5 million. Total task order expenditures is 13.7. Total pledged amounts for these under our business inclusion program is 20.8% MBE, 10% WBE, 9% SBE, and 3.4% OBE. The next update would be for our pre-qualified on-call engineering consultants contracts. We do have 24 on-call contracts on that list, which will expire July 2024. Under these contracts, total contract amount is $192.8 million, and payment to date is $139.7 million. Pledge participation levels for those on-call contracts is 21.6 MBE, 7.7% WBE, 22% SBE, 13% EBE, and 0.7% DVBE. The quarterly report before you also addresses subcontractor deviations concerns. There are 21 contracts listed in our report. A majority of those deviations are from our task orders that are awarded under the on-call engineering contracts. The main reasons for the deviations include that some of these TASs have been closed, and I've noted that on the report, where some of the services were not utilized. Some of the task orders also have just been initiated, and therefore few invoices have been received to date on those as well. Also, we've noted where subcontractors will be utilized toward the later phases of the project. There are a few projects where LA Sand did perform some of the subcontractor portions, such as our lab testing services. And due to COVID-19, we did delay some of those tasks. But we do anticipate that those subcontractor participation levels will increase this year. And that concludes my report for this month. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Lanton. Any questions, colleagues?
None for me.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Lanton. Have a good... Commissioner Closer, did you have a question?
I don't have any questions, but just a request, Ms. Lanton, if LA Sand could brief me on some of the upcoming 5-year contract extensions, I would appreciate it. Just I don't have to take up time in our board meetings to ask my 100 questions.
Yeah, definitely. I'll let staff know. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both. All right, Mr. Sasson, Mr. Louie, and Mr. Tolles, why don't you'll give us BOE?
I'll go ahead and start for BOE, and then I'll pass it over to Richard Louie. So good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Ryan Tolles with the Bureau of Engineering Wastewater Conveyance Construction Division. I'm here today to present the Bureau's construction order report for the period of April 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2021. The report is in accordance with the supplemental to proposed policy 793, which requests a quarterly aggregate listing of construction orders issued under the City Engineers Authority of $150,000 for the construction services contracts that are managed by the Bureau. So a little bit about what these are. These construction services contracts, they authorize BOE staff to use on-call list of contractors that provide emergency and as-needed repair services throughout the City of LA. Typically, the contracts are a 5-year term. Projects under these contracts, they're typically driven by short implementation schedules, concerns for public welfare, unacceptable environmental or social consequences if issues aren't addressed. So the way we deal with these projects is we issue notices to proceed utilizing what we refer to as construction orders. This is different from change orders, which my colleague Richard Louie will be presenting after. What a construction order is, it's a document that defines the scope of work, the project budget, and method of payment for this emergency nature or urgent necessity work. And the report that you have includes a list of all the work orders, the title and issuance date for different construction orders that were issued under the $150,000 threshold, which is the City Engineers Authority. And it's broken down by the different construction services contracts. So I'll just go down the list quickly. The first one is municipal facilities and related projects, there were zero construction orders issued in the quarter. Emergency geotechnical and structural contract, $0, no construction orders issued. We had the emergency storm drain repair program. There were 20 construction orders issued in the quarter, totaling $507,050. And emergency demolition services contract, zero construction orders in the quarter for $0. And then finally, the emergency sewer repair contract, $3.9 million, and a total of 133 construction orders were issued within the quarter. So this is a slight increase from last quarter. The numbers tend to fluctuate around the high 3 millions per quarter for sewer repair, so it's not out of the norm. We're typically dealing with collapsed pipe, broken maintenance holes, lids, sinkholes, or sewer spills for these types of things. So I'm here to answer any questions you guys have on the construction orders for the quarter.
Thank you, Mr. Tolles. Any questions, colleagues?
None for me.
All right. So does Mr. Louis you're going to report on change orders, Mr. Louis?
Yes, sir.
All right. Please proceed.
Well, good morning. My name is Richard Louis with the Bureau of Engineering, and I am reporting on the BOE issued construction change orders less than $150,000 for the period of April 1st to June 30th, 2021. So for this period, between April 1st and June 30th, there were 166 change orders that were issued over 37 projects, and the aggregate value of these change orders totals to $3,072,873. And that concludes my oral report for this morning. I would pass it off to Ray Cison next unless there are questions.
Any questions, colleagues? Are we ready for Ray? Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Cison, and thank you, Richard. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, President Good. Ray Cison from Bureau of Engineering, Project Awards Control Division. I'm here to report on the personal services contract for period of April 1st to June 30th, 2021. As of this reporting period, we have a total of 149 active contracts. We've invoiced a total of $10,612,512. Total of 10 tasks were awarded, and 40 current negative deviation in our contract. Regarding the invoice activities for the BPW contract, we have a total of 30, and total amount invoiced for the reporting period is $1,796,293, of which $118,704 to NBE, $183,126 to WBE, $233,702 to ODE, which represents 6.6% for NBE, 10.2% for WBE, and 13% for ODE. For the business inclusion program, a total of 86 contracts. Amount invoiced for this period is $3,447,224. NBE of $523,974. That represents 280,495 for WBE, 8.1%. 634,103, 18.4% for SBE. EBE of 449,234, 13%, and BBE of 28,574, which represents. We also have a disadvantaged business outreach program. We have a total of 33 contracts. Amount invoiced for this reporting period is $5,368,994. DBE participation for this invoice is $320,176, which is about 6%. OBE of 316,337, which is 8.9%. For policy 793, we've awarded one contract under 150,000 for the MBEWE outreach program, 3 tasks for business inclusion program. For task awarded over 150,000, we do not have any task awarded for MBEWE. We have 2 tasks awarded for business inclusion program and 4 tasks for the disadvantaged business account. During the reporting period and the current transition of IPA moving from LA Badlands to LA Pop, we received numerous inquiries on cost advertisement wherein consultants did not receive the proper notification for the opportunity. With the assistance of IPA, they were able to solve all this issue, and as of today, we haven't received any new inquiries regarding their issues back in this reporting period. There's no new contract executed for this reporting period. No contract expired during the reporting period. For the next 3 months, we have several contracts that will expire. For the animal bond, we have 1 contract that will be archived after expiration. We also have Kevin Bailey that's already expired. E2020 technology that was recently amended and currently being circulated for final signature. We have 6 contracts for environmental documentation and specialty studies that will expire after the expiration date. And we have about 11 contracts for landscape that will be amended and will be forthcoming to the board for extension of the contract. At this time, we don't have any amendments executed at this current period. As I mentioned earlier, the 2020 contract was approved by the board as well as the council and started being circulated. That concludes my report. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you, Mr. Sasan. Any questions, colleagues? Okay. Thank you, sir. Y'all have a great weekend, BOE. Mr. Cortez, you're going to wrap us up, hitting cleanup.
All right, sounds good. Good afternoon. My name is Victor Cortez. I am an acting senior civil engineer with the Bureau of Street Services, and I'm reporting on construction change orders issued in the second quarter of calendar year 2021 per policy 793. And we currently have just 2 projects to report on. The first project is the Los Angeles River Headwater Bikeway rebid project. For this project, we only have 2 change orders issued during this period. In a total amount of $21,127.68, which amounts to 0.37% of the total contract amount. For the second project is San Fernando Road Bike Path Phase 3. And for this project, we only have 1 issue change order for this period in the amount of $58,887, and this amounts to 0.32% of the contract amount. This concludes my presentation. If you guys have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Cortez. Any questions or comments, Garcia, Calosa, or Davis? All right. Dr. Campos, does that clear the
President?
Yes, sir.
President Good. We have Melinda Chow also.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Presenting, yeah.
Ms. Chow, forgive me. I apologize.
I'm the last and most important one to present.
No doubt, no doubt. Please forgive.
There you go, Melinda.
And Melinda, I missed the superimposed hat you had on your screen earlier when you showed up, by the way. I didn't miss that.
I accidentally had a filter on. It wasn't a cat filter, though.
That was funny. All right, please forgive me and go ahead.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Melinda Chow, representing the Bureau of Street Services Admin Division to report on contracts that are for the period April through June 2021. We do have 22 active contracts, of which 2 were new awards approved by the board within the last 90 days. In the report submitted, it is item number 6 on page 2. This is a piggyback on Office of Communication Beautification contract that was executed in June, and it is actually for our tunnel cleaning services utilizing graffiti control systems. This contract actually replaced the previous contract also with graffiti control systems, and that had expired in June, and so this is a replacement contract for the tunnel cleaning. Another one is the contract number 22 for cool pavement in select neighborhoods. This is a sole source contract that was executed in June, and I apologize, in the report I misstated. The contract expiration is not July 1st, 2021. That's actually the commencement date, and it's for a 1-year contract that will expire June 30th, 2022. And we also have 3 contracts that expired in the last 90 days. They are, first one is Vulcan Materials Company, and that provides as-needed production of asphalt concrete from reclaimed asphalt in our metro area. That one expired on June 9, 2021, and we did not renew that contract. And as I mentioned earlier, another one was the graffiti control system for tunnel cleaning that also expired on June 30th. And there was the third contract that expired was Frugor USA, which provides roadway services, roadway survey for our streets, which basically determines the pavement condition index for our roadways, and that one expired on May 24th, 2021. That contract we did not renew. However, we are seeking approval to piggyback on another city's contract. So we're trying to get the necessary approvals at this time, and it should be presented to board in the next couple of months. We also have 5 contracts that will be expiring in the next 90 days. And the first one being with Shaheen Associates, which is a pavement consulting contract that has typically been on a sole source contract. So we're looking to execute another sole source contract with them. This is for, we're trying to get the necessary approvals before we present to board. So it will also be coming to board in the next couple of months. The remaining 4 that will be expiring are 4 landscape median island maintenance contracts, basically 1 for each of the service areas, and those expire on October 5th, 2021. And those will more than likely be extended. They are 1-year contracts with 2 1-year renewal options. So more than likely, those will be extended by exercising our first option. We also have 4 pending contracts, and unfortunately, and I hate to say this, that these have been pending for a while. So we're trying to wrap these up and probably get this to board the next 3 at least, which are for heavy equipment transport services, Second one is freeway off-ramp closure services, and third is the Venice Canal's maintenance services. Those three will more than likely be presented to board in the next month. We have already submitted release requests for proposals for those, and then we have been in the process of preparing the board reports and the draft contracts. Again, those have just been going through the course of the necessary approvals internally. The fourth one is actually with our Los Angeles Trade Tech College agreement, which is to provide educational and development courses for the street maintenance technology program, and which is college accredited. Again, in the past, this service has been provided on AFE basis, and we are looking to execute a sole source contract with them for hopefully for a 3-year contract, and that one will be forthcoming as well. And as far as task order solicitations, there are 8 active task order solicitation contracts right now. 2 were new awards that took place in the last quarter. And both of those are awarded to Parsons Environmental, and they basically serve the Bureau's sidewalk and transit amenities program. That's the new term, which is basically for our street furniture program. One of those contracts was actually just an increase to the original contract award amount, which was approved by board on May 5th. And the second one was approved by board on May 7th, and it was awarded for approximately $250,000. The notice to proceed were both issued on these, and then we had 3 additional ones that are highlighted in yellow that were approved by board many months ago, but the notice to proceed was just issued in the last quarter because thank goodness to the elimination of cost containment review. So that was cost containment was no longer required as of April 22nd. So we finally were able to issue the notice to proceed on those 3, and they were issued to Somas and Associates and Hatch Associates, as well as Kimley Horn and Associates. We also have 1 pending award, which is for the feasibility study for our 2028 Olympics Legacy Street Improvement Plan, and that was just approved by board earlier as part of agenda item number 13. So that was newly awarded for the amount of approximately $500,000. And that concludes my report. Any questions, commissioners?
I was looking at some of the reports that you have given and thinking about our community level contracting. A lot of some of the work that you have discussed could potentially be some of the community level contracting work that your department could put together in the future. So I appreciate the quarterly update here and hope as we move forward and look to this new effort that we're in the board trying to put together, that the kind of projects that you have shared with us that are up for review and moving forward will be the same kind of projects that we might be able to look at when we put our program together for the Bureau as it relates to community level contracting in the future. These kinds of contracts will really be a stimulation. I know it's no way we can absolutely guarantee that small businesses in particular get the work, but it seems as if, and what you've shared with us today, that a lot of the small businesses are doing some of this work. So I appreciate your report here today, and I look forward to your Bureau being able to develop some community level contracting projects for us similar to what you've discussed with us today. And thank you for your report.
Thank you.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Calosa, Garcia, any other questions?
I don't have any questions for Ms. Chu other than to say thank you for your report and for being patient. I appreciate everyone who does these quarterly updates for the board. They give us a big picture view of your contracts and allows us to see it in greater detail in terms of the scope of work that you're all engaging in each quarter. I certainly started marking up a lot of my notes, similar to Dr. Davis's point about the potential here to unbundle maybe some portions of it into smaller contracts that I'm sure you'll be hearing from myself and Commissioner Davis soon enough on this. And I also just wanted to commend you on your format for your report, Ms. Chu. I thought it was super easy to read and appreciate the level of detail that you went into each item. So thanks for your work.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Calosa. And I believe that concludes our agenda. Dr. Campos, have we cleared the decks?
Yes, you have.
All right, thank you all very much. This meeting is officially adjourned. Everyone have great weekends.
All right, you too. See everybody Monday.
Thanks, y'all.
All right.
The recording has stopped.